And we're live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Truth Will Set You Free, number 24. Today's a little bit of a different one. We, of course, have me, Anthony Michael Russo, Curtis Harkness, and Chelly is our host for the show, but we have a full female cast of characters, a female panel with Lindsay Chambers, Kristen Olsen, Rachel Altman, Barb Allen, and Chelly Flecha. I believe that's, I actually have never
Flecha.
asked her, how, is it Flecha?
Yeah, man, you better get my girl's name right.
I don't know. I mean, she's got the wink down, so we're good there. So we're going to get started in just a minute. As we guys can please share this out. This is going to be great because we've got 2 Democrats. We've got 1 Libertarian, Undecided, and we've got 2 Republicans in the House, pro-Trump, pro-Biden, or anti-Trump. I don't know. We'll find out where they fall. And then somebody that is currently fully undecided. So share it out there, and we'll get started in just a minute right here. Truth Will Set You Free, number 24, hosted again by Cash, Curtis, and Anthony. Bunch of dudes trying not to mansplain. Excellent.
Don't tell me what you. Yeah, exactly.
Good. Use your words, Curtis. Well done.
Whoa. I lost my train of thought.
Ready for the super long intro?
Oh, here we go.
Let it go.
So good. It's just so good.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
I didn't hear a thing.
That sounds like a you problem.
I was like, where's the music?
Well, it was just good enough. All right. So today's going to be a fun one. We've got all ladies on this show as our panel, and they are going to be they're going to be the drivers. We are just going to be kind of recapping each major topic, which should be great. And to start, yes, Kristen, I know we've got them. They're chomping at the bit to get in here. You're able to respond in general chat. Just yeah, exactly. You'll be able to respond whenever we get started. Just the big thing today, since we have 5 guests, is we're going to make sure they are not talking over each other. With all that said, we've got some housekeeping I want to make sure you guys know about. We've got some fun stuff coming up tomorrow. We have change makers. For those of you that saw the first one with Sharice Fonts, we've got part 2. She is amazing. You guys will dig her. Maybe Cash will be on with me. We'll see. He didn't get to see the first one with her, but she is phenomenal. She's got the Humanity Project. And after the show, we realized that we did not talk about her background and her life, which was unreal. So we're going to have her tomorrow. So if anybody wants to join us for that, again, that is at 6 p.m. Eastern time right here on BetheChange. Also, this is a podcast network, if you guys don't know. So if you cannot catch us on this and you want to listen again, yes, Cash.
I got to take this call real quick. Can you drop me out?
Absolutely. Anything you want, Buttercup. So we've got the hashtag BetheChange.com/podcast. And make sure you guys can, if you guys didn't catch any of these shows, watch us or listen to us on there. You can find them all. We're on all the major networks with change makers, as well as Truth Will Set You Free. Eventually, we'll have some of all parts whenever Cash gets around to putting it in the system. That should be interesting. All right, so that's it for that. And then what else? We got housekeeping, change makers. We've got that. Check out the podcast network. Please make sure that you also, for volunteers, any of the volunteers watching right now, we have another volunteer meeting tomorrow night. I believe it's at 8 o'clock. I'm not totally sure. So you guys have gotten emails. You'll get a reminder email tomorrow. And the core of that is going to be talking about how we're moving forward with all of the streetlights groups across the country, and also maybe some thoughts about Thanksgiving and how we could do some stuff with that as well. Last thing we're going to bring up, ladies and gents, is new stuff on the website. Cash had a request for the, new items, including the special edition Trump 2020. I know if we do have a lot of our liberal followers, yes, I'll bring you back up, Cash. I see you dancing. I know we have some liberal followers, but this was just a Cash request, and we're only taking orders until Friday. Again, there's some new stuff, sweatshirts, hoodies, as well as the red shirt that I have. There's a trucker hat on the bottom. You can see I've got this bad boy on. Cash, this was by request that we did your shirt. So
Yes.
push it. Tell them why they get
I already did. I shared it already. It's a special shirt. My design from my heart. Well, not all the way my design. Russo's the brains behind it, but it was my idea because I wanted something a little more patriotic and a little more Trump. So yeah, if you guys want that, there's only going to be 100 of them, and you can only order up until Friday. And we've already sold like 27 of them.
Something like that.
Yeah. So you guys got like what's that? 73 left?
Yeah, 73 left.
So if you guys want them, you can get them. I appreciate the support. It directly helps streetlights. So that's not coming to cash. That's coming directly to the foundation. That's going to go towards the community centers and the things that we have in the works for that. So thank you guys for your support.
Excellent. So yeah, you can go to hashtag.com and then click on shop at the top of the page. Lastly, you guys are going to see this on the bottom throughout. Again, everything that we do, we're doing now because this has become our full-time job. And if you want to support us, I will be doing something with Patreon. Well, I actually found a bunch of clothes in storage, some old BetheChange stuff. So I'm going to be doing Patreon only trivia where I will send out some of the stuff that is not on the website. So make sure you join Patreon. If that's not bribery enough, I don't know what is. Go to patreon.com/BetheChange USA to find that. I will bribe you. There's not much I won't do. I'm not going to lie.
That's not good to say.
It's 2020 and I'm in the event industry. There is not much Curtis and I want to do. Let's be honest.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like I don't see my jobs coming back. So we're talking to y'all.
They just moved the New York Auto Show to August. New York Auto Show.
Good, Curtis. Don't trip, bro. We got you. Real talk. Don't trip.
Yeah, I've been waiting for some. I got a small business, so I'm trying to hang in there. I just need a little bit of PPP.
That's why you need to vote Trump. You got a small business.
I mean, he and the Democrats ain't did nothing yet. So that for me on that point,
vote for him.
On that
Platinum plan.
I need the money now plan. I need the money now plan.
Well, then for me, kid, I'll take you to the top.
The business might be gone. That's what we won't be gone. Praise the Lord. God's blessing. But that's why I don't look to the government for my help. I'm making it happen myself.
Me neither.
Also, I
don't look to the government for nothing. I look to Trump though.
In cash. I don't look at him either because he ain't cutting me no check out of this person. He got that money though. But if he can give me a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
I'm Curtis, think you're sadly mistaken. But we'll leave that up to the ladies to discuss.
Exactly.
Right now, this show will be over and I will be re-educating my man Curtis on why Trump 2020 is so important, especially for small businesses. But we're not gonna do that right now. We're gonna leave it alone. We're just gonna leave it alone.
All right, Curtis. Before we bring up all of our panelists, do you have anything going on that you want to tell anybody about?
Yes. So Regular Hero and the Gratitude Tour, we are doing another giveaway food to the frontline workers at the hospitals. We're in Miami. We're doing a really big brunch that is socially distanced. Don't get mad at me, anybody. They will have masks or whatever, but they cannot have them when they eat. But the money we are raising is going to go towards the doctors and the nurses inside the units that are working full time right now. And then also next week, the 31st, we're going to do one to hopefully provide Halloween bags for the kids that can't trick or treat, especially the ones in the hospital. So we're trying to do some of those things, and I need to get with cash. We've been saying it over and over. Street lights. We're ready. We're ready in Miami. So, and it's also in New York and hopefully in Atlanta. So
let me know. I'm with it.
That's what's up. Oh yeah.
So a little bit. I got something in the works too, you guys. As you already know, Thursday I'm hosting a debate party with Senator to be Tom McCullough. Also on Friday I'm going to be on the radio WJOB out here in Chicago, and also that night I will be on the Republican GOP podcast. Then October 30th, I'm flying out to California. I will be in LA from October 30th to November 5th. So I'm going to probably have an election party out there as well. If you guys are out in California and you want to be a part of that, let me know, or blow up Anthony because he could probably get to me before I see your messages if I have not hit your messages already. Or you can hit up Erica as well. But even beyond that, I have some stuff in the works out there. I'm going to be on a network with a pastor from Killing Hands, I think it's called. I'll be on a TV show with him. I'll be on more than a few radio interviews with a couple different radio stations that are out there. I'm set to meet with a couple influential people out in California. I also have a meeting in the works with the Bloods. So that's going to be interesting. I want to get out there and talk to them and try to bring some unity, you know what I mean, bridge some gaps and tell them why this election is important and all that can happen with this president getting 4 more years. And not just that, but connecting them with street lights to maybe help out there in California in some ways that they need help. So we got a lot of stuff in the works, man, and I'm on the ground putting in the work, all because of you guys. And when I say that, it's directly because you guys have been helping me. You've been donating. You've been making it to where I can go and do the things that I'm doing, all right, to try to bring the change and be the change everywhere that I go. So thank all of you, straight up. I appreciate you more than you know.
Love it. It's good stuff. A couple people asked about volunteering. We could talk about that after, but we have pretty full, and it doesn't matter what state because we'll add people to each state. And we have 20 of them already set up. We've already posted about that, and they've already started doing stuff, and we're thinking maybe something for Thanksgiving. I know Erica and Cash had an idea, but we'll talk about that with our volunteers. With that said, Nicole, do not have them send me a message. I will stab myself. Go ahead and message Nikki. Nikki will take care of it. If I get any more messages, I may lose my mind. With that said, it's time to introduce our guest. I'm going to actually start with the lovely lady that I was on her podcast with American Snippets yesterday. She's got a great show. I actually don't know when mine's going to air. Probably, should make it right at election time because why not? Who's the man? Or, gosh, who knows? Just kidding. We're going to go and bring her on. Ladies and gentlemen, Barb Allen.
Hey there.
Hey, Barb.
Hi.
I didn't warn you that you're going to have to wait 37 minutes backstage. I apologize. I probably should have done that, but I like to chop it.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right. It's very entertaining.
I love your hair.
Thank you.
Stop mansplaining, Cash. All right, go ahead and explain yourself, Barb, who you're voting for. Tell us a little bit about you.
All right. I am voting for Trump. I'm actually not registered Republican. I'm registered independent just because when I registered, I just couldn't bring myself to put myself in a box. It just bothered me for whatever reason. But I'm Trump all the way. Even though I have voted Democrat in the past, that those days are over, and I will be voting for Trump for a lot of reasons. I'm a Gold Star wife. My husband was killed in Iraq in 2005.
Oh, wow.
I had 4 boys to raise on my own, so I got to see firsthand all the amazing things that are in this country, and I got to see the impact of all the divisiveness and the hate that rose up in the last few years. So for me, patriotism is very personal. And that's why we launched our podcast, our patriotic platform, American Snippets, and our patriotic community, the Great American Syndicate, so we can strengthen ourselves, our families, and our communities towards building a better country.
Yes,
very cool.
Love it. And I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Agreed. Excellent. All right, so we are now going to go to, here's the other rule I have as I start bringing up our liberal guests, and I do know that we do have a predominantly conservative audience. We are going to be nice. We are, if you have disagreements, it needs to be fact-based. If you want to put them in the comments and start having a discussion, please go, I don't agree with that because, don't say you're dumb, you're an idiot. Please stay away from those comments because whether we're liberal or conservative, we're better than that. We are all better than that. So today's going to get fun though. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to bring on, you saw her last week. We're going to bring on Lindsay back. Lindsay, how you doing?
I'm super. How are you guys?
Fantastic. So this is more your wheelhouse, talking about women's rights, why a woman would vote for Biden, et cetera. So go ahead and introduce yourself again. I know we just jumped on last week, so go ahead.
Yes, my name is Lindsay. I've known Anthony for a good while through friends. I currently work at the Cowboys Stadium in the beverage hospitality industry, and I am voting for Biden. This is going to get, okay, I put these on so I can read stuff, but I'm voting for Biden because
No, this isn't the because.
It's going to be hateful. I know that it gets that
way. Not yet.
Lindsay, save the because. This is just you're voting for Biden.
I thought that was what we were doing.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
This is the intros. This is the intros. Barb gave her background. The first question will be, why not Trump? But right now, just introduce yourself. And if you do anything on a political level, if you are an advocate or have you been protesting, etc.
Yes, I have done the Black Lives Matter protest. I have advocated for the Women's March whenever he was first elected. I've been involved with a lot of conversations with a lot of different people, especially people that I work with, including women and minorities. Like my phone has been blowing up with people sending me like different articles, and I'm like, don't. That like it's like 10 minutes before this. Like I got this. It's fine. But yes, I feel that this conversation should be had, and I feel like women's rights should be heard, as well as a number of different minorities. And I don't think that it has been represented very well.
Got it. All right, so let's go ahead and welcome Lindsay. Lindsay, welcome back. I love that you're here. Sorry that I had already cut you off, but yeah,
I got two hands going like this.
Yeah, no, not yet. And if Curtis is saying it, then you know that, yeah, exactly. All right, let's go ahead and go with Kristen. Kristen Olsen is going to be next. Kristen, introduce yourself.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
You're perfect. You're great.
Okay. My name is Kristen Olsen. I live in Allen, Texas. I have already voted for Biden. I haven't really gotten into politics until recently, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later. Biggest things that I advocate for is I do a lot of work with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And I'm a huge advocate of the LGBTQ community because I am a part of it, as well as almost every single one of my closest and dearest friends is a part of it. So because of them and because of my the work that I do with suicide prevention, that is why when Trump was elected, that's when I was like, that's the first time I jumped into politics at that point.
Got it.
And I'm glad to be here. So
excellent. We're happy to have you.
Welcome. I like that you work with suicide prevention. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, especially this year. It's insane.
Especially this year. This is ridiculous. Yeah.
All right. We're going to go ahead and introduce. A lot of you guys already know this person. And don't worry, Rachel. I know I figured since you were the youngest, I would make you wait the longest to make you the most nervous. So Chelly, everybody knows lovely Chelly. Chelly, what's going on?
Hi, how are you guys? Hello. So as you guys know, I'm Chelly. I am voting for Trump. I am a police officer in Chicago. I am a mother of 5. And I am a registered Democrat, born and raised Democrat my entire life. This is the first time I will ever be voting for Trump. And I don't consider myself Republican or Democrat. I consider myself independent with views that veer more towards the conservative side.
Love it. I didn't realize it. Did you not vote for Trump in 2016?
I did not.
Did you vote or did you just not vote?
I did vote, and I'm too embarrassed to say who I voted for.
You're good. All right.
Don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed.
Well, I know I stress this, and sometimes you have people that don't know, but I was a lifelong Democrat as well. And my first Republican vote ever came in the midterm elections of 2014. So, all right. Next up, our final guest, a libertarian. Her and I got to talk a little bit. She's a badass. You guys are going to like her as well. So introducing Rachel Altman to the stage. Rachel.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Altman. I am so excited to be here. This is actually the first podcast I've ever been on my whole life. So quite an honor. Thank you, Anthony, for giving me a chance. As he said, I am a libertarian. That doesn't mean the Libertarian Party, but I would say that I'm a libertarian ideologically. And I am still a true undecided in this election. I know I'm late, but hopefully this discussion will help me come to a decision. I'm definitely politically active, so it's not out of a lack of engaging with the relevant questions. I am a student at Tulane University. I'm 21 years old, and I run a student organization at Tulane called the Wave Center for Policy and Enterprise. It is a nonpartisan policy think tank that stresses free intellectual discourse and fact-based discussion of politics and policy. So I'm really excited to be here and talk through some of the issues with y'all.
Love it. And get to know Rachel, because Rachel will be on our Changemakers episode sometime in November, I believe. She's doing really, really cool work on a collegiate level, bringing bipartisan concepts together. So with that said, everyone, you know what? I'm gonna do something that I used to do during spring break in South Padre. To everybody watching at home, we've got
no.
This is good. No. This is good. This is good. So what we used to do before the men's and ladies dance contest is we would always say, since we have women about to be on the stage, we do not boo anyone. So we all boo at the same time. And even though some of you guys are going to disagree with some people and agree with others, I want you to look at Cash. And I want everybody at home right now to look at Cash and boo as loud as they can. And you can boo in the comments.
You ain't going to get nobody to
boo Cash. Get your boos out. Get your hormones out.
That's my boo.
You know what, Rico? You know what? I despise you right now. How dare you? How dare you?
So boo's coming in. Would you guys boo in?
How you
for
going to
God's
get my
sake?
people to boo me?
Okay. All right.
That's
With that
messed up.
said, there we go. Carl. That's what I'm talking about. Carl got in there. Change Stigner. All right. Never.
Boo,
You gotta
no
never.
boo
No
for our
boobs.
man.
That sucks. That really sucks. No boobs for him. Oh, dang.
That's a
Look,
whole
I
different
can't.
issue.
That's what I'm talking about. I love you guys. Thank you guys. See, Anthony, boo Anthony, everybody, if you could, 1 second. Boo Anthony right now.
I'm just booing everybody.
That's not the one I meant to bring up. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, which we really didn't, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get started with the first topic, which is going to be why not Trump? So the why not Trump is obviously I'm going to have that start with one of our liberal guests. And I've organized the screen like this on purpose. If anybody's wondering, Kristen and Lindsay are on the left. That bone did not make it very long with Woody. So that sounds really odd, but it's the dog. If anybody's wondering, that's the dog's name. Most of you guys already know. All right. So I'm going to start with Kristen. Kristen, you're going to go ahead and get the lead on this one. Curtis and Cash and I are essentially just going to be, for the purposes of moderating, if there's something we want to step in on, again, take a minute to a minute and a half with each of your responses, and we will go from there. All right. Kristen, why are you not voting? Why are you not voting for Trump?
Okay, so the reason there's many. One of the biggest reasons does have a lot to do with the things that he has said to and about women going back to the dawn of time. Other reasons include the fact that he is a billionaire businessman who has filed for bankruptcy 7 times. And to me, that says you're not so good at business. You know, I was telling you, Anthony, how terrible I am at technology. I'm just bad at it, right? So I don't go and try to run a techno company. You know, it's not going to happen. It doesn't make any sense to me. He's just painfully unqualified. I believe that he dodged the draft, that his dad paid a doctor to get him out of the draft. So how can an unpatriotic guy be the president? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Just his business policies, he's shady as hell. He's just on a personal level, the way he has treated his wives, the way he treats women in general, he's a misogynist. He just is. No one will be able to convince me otherwise. And it's just based on what he said, even when he was not in politics at all. I've never watched an episode of The Apprentice. I just always thought he was an arrogant douchebag, to be honest with you. I can't stand him. I don't like him. His policies, he has done some good things. I will give him that. He's done some great things on animal rights. He's changed a couple things for the nation that has done some good. Overall, I think he is a garbage human being, and I can't stand the sound of his voice anymore.
Hey,
I don't know if
okay, Kristen, hold on a sec. Cash, go ahead.
Real quick. I understand we're going to be having a debate tonight, and we're all American.
That's all.
All of us here have a sentiment of patriotism, I feel, right? So I'm going to ask, this is just a request from me, if we could, because I wasn't planning on throwing no nasty insults about, anybody or about Biden with the things that we could say about him as personal attacks. So I get that you don't like him, but he's still the president. So can we not call him a douchebag and a garbage human? And
so that I was gonna follow up the same way. Here's what I would like, if you are going to say things like that on either side, whether it's friggin' dog, whether it's gonna be either way, I would ask that you say the fact of resorting, like saying he's a douchebag because of this, like a specific event.
Did I break black?
Are you chopping up? So yeah, so just if you are going to talk trash about either of the candidates, we need specific events that would make you feel that way. Where that
I'm having technical issues. I can't hear. Yes.
Okay. So when you actually have, I need you to actually give the exact reasons, not just how you feel. If you're going to talk poorly of either of the candidates, give the exact reason that makes you feel that way. So Kristen, we'll come back to you on a different or a little bit. Probably we'll circle back on this topic. I'm going to go to Barb first, if that's okay. Barb, on the conservative side, I know you're writing some stuff down. Yeah. Barb, go for it.
What am I answering?
You are essentially responding to her, and then why Trump, and why you would be voting for Trump, and some of her responses to counter.
All right. Got it. So I find that comments and thoughts like that are not unique. It's interesting to me that most of the people, I'm going to say not all of them, who are strong anti-Trumpers are so because of emotions. And even in this instance, we heard that, there were some good policies, but, he's a piece of crap, so I'm not going to vote for him. So it seems to be more of an emotional reaction, which is more personal preference than policy based. And so that's just my opinions and my thoughts and my experience with the people I've had coming after me for voicing my beliefs. And when I say I believe, I'm standing up for this policy, I get attacked and called all sorts of horrible things because I voice support for one policy or I stand up against another. So it seems like, in my experience anyway, and just in this one answer, and that's the only answer I've ever heard from Kristen. So I don't know, anything else about those positions except for what I just heard. And it seems to be strongly emotionally based. For me, I don't pretend that Trump is a perfect human being. I don't care if there is no such thing as a perfect human being. And if you're going to pretend to be perfect, then I'm not going to trust you because you are hiding something really bad. And so, he'll say things sometimes. I'm like, dude, you just gave them so much rope, so much rope to do bad things to you with. So I'm like, maybe a little less, but he doesn't offend me as a person. I think he's done great things for women. Most of the women in his campaign and on his staff who have risen and excelled. I am pro-life. I am patriotic. I am for, maintaining our borders. I don't like the establishment. I think he is what we need to shake up this country. He's an imperfect human being. Hello, who isn't? And if we had social media for any of our other past presidents years ago, what would we have known about them? And Biden has not shown to be a person that I would trust. He's shown to be a double talker.
No Biden yet.
Okay,
No Biden
those are my.
No, that's perfect. And I think everybody's going to have 2 times to go around on this one.
Okay.
Great job, Barb. I'm going to have Chelly go, and then Lindsay, and then we're going to go to Rachel, and then we're going to make a circle back so everybody can talk. Kristen, I'm going to warn you, you look like you're frozen again, so I will suggest that you try the phone. You were clear for a bit, but we're going to have you probably have to go and try the phone because you have locked up. So Chelly, Barb did a lot of kind of countering kind of some of what Kristen said. Chelly, I would like you to actually go hard into exactly why Trump.
So I'm voting for Trump based on just the promises that he's kept and the promises that he's kept up to this point. I don't particularly care about the way he talks and all that stuff, because we have had presidents before that talk prim and proper and promise us a whole world of things and given us absolutely nothing. So the reason I'm voting for Trump is the deal that he's made with the USMC, which is the United States, Mexico, and Canada. That's one. For the first time, Mexico will have a middle class, which has never been, ever, ever, ever. I support the fact that he wants to build the wall for many reasons. Not because he said Mexicans, I'm Mexican and Puerto Rican. Not because he said that we are drug dealers or that we're rapists. He was talking about MS-13. People need to start watching the whole show, not just little bit clips of it. I am voting for Trump because he has done more for minorities. Which I am. He has done more for women and unemployment. He has done more for the Black community than any other president, even when we had a Black president. Mm-hmm. Those are just some of the things. I could go on and on and on, but that is the reason I'm voting for Trump.
Same thing as we ask for facts. Can when we say the talking points of he's done the most for Black, give an example or some things like that, so that way some people who are on the left.
The lowest unemployment.
We're gonna get
wait. I'm just saying in general as we go, in current stuff too, that what's current right now as we move forward. Let's make sure on both sides. If you say Biden's going to do this or he's done this, let's give some facts. And the same thing with Trump, because what we hear a lot is the same things on both sides of they've done this and they've done that. Let's get a little bit specific on what they've done and how they potentially can do it. So that way people, if they're not for Trump, they can understand. And then people who are not for Biden, they can also hear and understand too. Yeah, just a little something so that way we can be really nitty gritty.
Yeah, Shelly, go for 20 more seconds.
Yeah, Shelly, you had 30 seconds left. So
no, that's fine. You want us basically to elaborate on why we're saying what we're saying, which is fine. But like we're getting 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. It's gonna
exactly what I was gonna say.
You're fine. Just one reference.
Like just one or two references. Like what has Biden done or what has Trump done? And like done. You know, they did this and this result.
She talked about the United States, Mexico, Canada.
The US.
I know. I'm just saying for everybody. I'm not attacking you, Shelly. I'm just saying for everybody.
No, I don't think I don't think you're attacking me.
Okay.
I just want it to be clear so that going forward, I know exactly what you're talking about.
No, you did exactly right on the USMC. That was,
Okay, so the USMC, the fact that the unemployment rate for Blacks is the lowest it's been ever. So that's an actual fact. Like anybody can look that up.
Yep.
Well, those are the reasons. Those, amongst many others, are the reasons I'm voting for Trump.
Perfect. And Kristen, you're much smoother now, however you set that up. So you're good. All right. We are now going to go to Lindsay. Lindsay, why not Trump? And remember what we said.
No GD. Got it.
That too. Yep.
I hear a lot of you have to separate the man from the policy, like his politics. No, you don't. If I have somebody and I'm going to elect somebody that is going to represent me and my country, I don't want him to be going to other countries or holding rallies where he is mocking women and that they bleed and that's disgusting, or like rattling Biden because he has a stutter and he knows that that's like going for a weak ankle at a football game. I feel like he uses fear tactics. He takes credit for things that he doesn't have the capacity as a politician to actually have accomplished those things. I think that he gets a lot of people in and he pays them off, and he thinks that, you know, he's going to have these people behind him and they are going to do the work while he is the face of the country. But his face, meaning the things that he says, his, again, 26 sexual assault allegations. I know that's a joke with you two. The alleged.
Well, to be clear on what you just said, these sexual assaults are not a joke, but the word allegation is, just to be clear, because that could have sounded very bad.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. You are completely right. The alleged is the joke part. I don't think that he actually values the work that women do. Yeah. He
Why?
right?
Hold on.
You haven't given one example.
You've got 30 seconds left. You've thrown out a bunch of I don't feel and I think without a single example. So you need to have some kind of example to everything that you just brought up.
He has a lot of women in the White House staff. The national rate for pay for women versus men is 82 cents to the dollar. The White House staff, the females get paid 69 cents to the dollar.
I've never seen that statistic.
Never in my life heard that.
Never, and I will tell you.
What did you hear?
Well, first off, the White House staff is not paid like a regular corporation. Those are actually jobs that are set in place, and that's actually based on the federal government that's been that way for a very, very, very long time. Secondly, if you look in private life, you look at his private structure, the Hillary Clinton Foundation paid their staff, females, 71 cents on the dollar to every man, and the Trump businesses were actually fully equal between minorities and females. So factually, you are incorrect. So I do have to fact check.
So where did you hear the Hillary Clinton 71 cents? Where did
That's a known fact.
You can from the 2020 the pay that they get. And he discredited and he took back the equal pay transparency program that was put in place. So men and women, you don't know who gets paid what.
That is correct. That was a reason that was repealed, and I'll let people look that up on their own. There was a lot of unfair practices being held by corporations, forcing certain levels of hiring. There was a lot of Republican and there was bipartisan support on getting rid of that. It was very equal, but we'll end it there.
Wait, no, I got one question. Am I debating with you? Because I thought it was me and the women.
I agree, but the thing is, there has to be actual facts. So I'm a fact checker in this sense. This is what I do 10 hours a day. So if they're blatantly incorrect, I do have to correct them.
But shouldn't you be moderating while I discuss this with them?
Agree.
No,
yeah, agree.
We moderate the whole thing, but when
we moderate if there's an incorrect fact.
Exactly.
Rachel, you are up. Sorry, no, Kat. You want to say something? Go ahead.
Because we're hearing a lot of feelings so far, and the allegations that get thrown out about sexual assaults and all that. But what about the sexual assaults? If we're going to use those, isn't an equal playing field on Biden? Because you said it's not why you're voting for Biden because of these things with Trump. But Biden has the exact same.
We haven't gotten to Biden yet.
We haven't got to Biden yet.
I'm just saying, with the allegations part of it, I just want to make it a note.
Trump has threatened to sue every single woman that has made an allegation against him. He hasn't done any of that. Biden, when he was accused of being inappropriate with a woman, he came out and he apologized and he was like, I will work on my personal distancing. Trump doesn't do that. He doesn't take responsibility.
Actually incorrect, by the way. I'm sorry. Biden actually said, I don't know who that woman was. I have no idea what she's talking about. She must have been. So that is factually incorrect. Okay, I'm going to have Rachel. Rachel, you're up.
So responding to the comments about Trump's demeanor, I agree. His demeanor is really not great. I don't like the way that he speaks, and I don't like the way that he tweets. And I think a lot of people share that sentiment. But when it comes to what tangibly affects real Americans' lives, I try to put policy over just the demeanor and the personality when I'm voting for somebody. And there are things that Trump has done that I really like. There are economic policies that he's done that I like. I like that he lowered taxes. I really liked his deregulatory agenda. I thought that was very good for small businesses. I like the fact that he has actually done tangible criminal justice reform through the First Step Act. That is an issue that I really deeply care about. And his agenda on criminal justice reform, although not perfect, I think the First Step Act does say a lot. I really liked his Department of Education under Betsy DeVos, and I have loved his Supreme Court picks. Justice Gorsuch is probably my favorite Supreme Court justice ever. I'm very excited for Amy Coney Barrett. So there are things that I like about Trump, but there are also several things that I don't like. So as a huge proponent of free trade, I am definitely critical of his tariff program. The tariffs are not only for national security, they've also been against our allies like India and Canada, not just China. And that's actually resulted in more state involvement, like subsidies to get U.S. agriculture back on its feet after the tariffs kind of knocked that down a little bit. The deficit has continued to increase even before coronavirus happened. Obviously, there's been a lot of spending since coronavirus, but when I elect a Republican into office as a libertarian and somebody who values small government, I like to see them actually making a dent in our national debt. And then finally, when it comes to the role of the federal government, I think that he has not done a lot to curb the vast police powers that exist in our federal government. The administration over the summer actually gave wide-ranging surveillance powers to the DEA, which is sort of a federal law enforcement agency that is supposed to deal with drug enforcement. Over the summer, they were granted emergency powers so they could enforce any laws, not just related to drugs, and also so they could surveil people that they believe were associated with the protests. We right now have this really large, unaccountable federal police force. We have about 132,000 federal police officers, which is simply not the small and limited federal government that our founders envisioned. And Trump has done very little to nothing to roll that back. So in that area, I can say I've been dissatisfied.
Got it. No, that's great. Lindsay.
Wow. Okay. Can I say one thing?
Articulated everything that she just said, and that's you will never hear me come at anybody that just did what she just did.
I can't.
You just did an amazing job explaining your argument without feelings. You talk straight up about policy. You're great. Good job.
I'm not even gonna lie. I will say one thing. Like, I just love the fact that you were able to, like, I know we make statements on both sides, but you actually gave us backed up factual what it's done, and that's 100%. That's exactly what I like to hear. So,
and you know what was crazy about it? You know what was crazy? On some of the things I disagreed with, I didn't say anything because she didn't put her feelings. She put her statistics, and that was dope. I appreciate
that.
Right?
You know, that's a personal attack.
It's not. I'm talking about
it was
the other thing too is
not just talking about their feelings. She just put straight facts. And even though I disagreed, I shut up because she did it in a way that she backed it up. I can't say nothing.
Well, Lindsay, hold on a second. I want to give Lindsay a chance to come back real quick because she sent me an article from the Washington Post that, since I do not spend the money on them, I cannot read it, but I do know. I'm assuming what it's saying. Biden was accused of inappropriate physical contact.
The video of him literally apologizing and saying this exactly what I quoted. That was not in any way, shape, or what's the date of that article? I can't see it. Because he went for weeks saying, smearing Tara Reade's reputation, career, etc. So maybe he's come out and said that he would become better. He acknowledged some of his gestures of support, make people uncomfortable, and he will work on his personal distancing. And it was misunderstood, which it's not the greatest apology, but it's not, I'm going to sue every single woman. That wasn't to Tara Reade. That was to people saying that he got too feely and touchy. Tara Reade was a specific.
But she didn't say that was to Tara Reade either. You all both assumed that. And
well, so that's what we were talking about with Tara Reade.
She wasn't, and she was speaking. So she didn't say. She was saying that in general. Just clarifying. You both thought she was talking about Tara Reade. She was not. She was talking about the overall touchy-feeliness that everybody was.
We're not talking about touchy.
We're talking about rape allegations.
Assault allegation on him from a specific woman that worked in his office.
Well, I'm saying she wasn't talking about.
Okay, well, then that means she changed over the topic.
Why not Trump? I was answering that question. That is one of the reasons why not Trump.
Okay.
I didn't.
Do you have any idea where Kristen went?
I don't know.
Kristen bounced, and I'm trying to get back a hold of her. I do not know where she went. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to now go to the second round of that same part. Cash, do you have any wrap-ups of what was just said, Cash and Curtis? And then we're going to go back in the same circle and let everybody have their a little bit more on why not Trump, why Trump, with some more facts and figures, because I forced Barb to kind of counteract instead of exactly bring up her points earlier.
Yeah.
Lindsay, you're going to have the floor again. And we'll go from there. Kristen is back, I think. Her time before. Go ahead, Cash. You got anything?
No.
All right. He yields his 30 seconds back.
I get 30 seconds extra? All right, perfect.
No, you only get your 30 seconds. Curtis doesn't know what 30 seconds is. He thinks 30 seconds is a minute and 78 seconds.
It's not a bad thing. Yes, so I just want to say I did learn something from Rachel. Thank you for alerting me to the federal force in the DEA powers I did not know about. That is, so thank you. And that's good.
I love that I'm getting multiple calls. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so Kristen, I see you down there. This is how we're going to start. We are going to start on the right side. We are going to go with Barb. Barb, go ahead and give your Nicole, help me. Go ahead and give your exact reasons. I know I had you countering before, but go ahead and give your reasons specifically for voting Trump. Again, nothing talking about Biden at this point. We're going to do a little bit shorter this time. We're going to go with about a minute if you can.
Okay. Go ahead, Barb. Do your thing, girl.
All right. Thanks, man. All right. There's a lot of things, but I'll touch on a few that are probably most prevalent to me. I want secure borders. I am not an advocate for opening up borders and letting people come in unchecked and, driver's licenses for undocumented, for illegal people, stimulus checks for illegal immigrants. No, like what? There's a finite cap to our resources, and there has to be a process so that everybody can come up to the level and contribute instead of just drain, because we just can't not physically provide for every single person that comes in, and they have to be checked. We have to make sure they're safe citizens to be in this country and send them back if they have a criminal record. Patriotism is important to me. I feel like patriotism, I'm so tired of being told I'm a racist because I'm patriotic. I've lost track of how many times I've been called a racist. because I'm patriotic, and President Trump stands for patriotism without the, he's a politician technically, but he's not a politician, which is one thing I really like about him. He's not a career politician. He doesn't give a crap what the other politicians say about him, which sometimes, can come off as a little harsh, but other times it helps him get things done without being beholden to people. He doesn't owe anybody. He does things like he got rid of the inheritance tax for farmers, which helps them. Really, I'm a farm girl, like a country girl at heart. I worked as a agricultural economic development director at one time. I saw a lot of farmers struggling. So I like that he went and did this and helped our farmers pass their land down from one generation to the next.
Excellent.
Pro-life, that's a big one. Sorry, I don't know how I forgot that. Pro-life is very, very, very important to me.
Explained.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, so those are hers. Do either of you, either Kristen or Lindsay, want to directly reply to Barb and her reasonings?
Go ahead, Kristen. I'm
Ready to go, Kristen? You got
Lindsay,
this?
you want to kill me right now.
I don't. I fully respect everything that you said, and I love that you believe in those things and pro-life, whichever.
The only thing I know anything about would be abortion. I don't know anything really about the farming stuff that she was referring to. If he did that, that's awesome.
Okay.
But
So,
that's the only.
Go ahead. I think you might be on like a 5-second delay, which is why
What?
just go ahead and respond to that, and also give some more reasons this time though, because you were the first one to go last time. Remember, everything has to be rooted in some kind of reason and fact. So go ahead and respond to the pro-life, pro-choice obvious concept, and then also make sure that you and anything else. This is again free reign. Why not Trump? Just please have a source background or some kind of fact to back up why you think a certain way. There'll be about a 5-second delay. Give it to her. Hold on.
I can't tell if I'm lagging out or not. I apologize.
You're good. Go ahead. Kristen? Bueller? All right, Lindsay, you're on. Sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and talk to Kristen on the side.
If we're discussing the pro-life abortion, I don't see how it makes sense that. Okay, let me start that over. I feel like it doesn't. I'm just kidding. You can't cut funding to Planned Parenthood and then also WIC at the same time, also SNAP at the same time. There's a Kemp-Kasten amendment that was put in place via Reagan that he tried to repeal, that said that it was, he repealed it because he said it was coercive abortion and forced sterilization, and that's not accurate. It's UNFPA, I believe. That's the organization that would go and they fight against female mutilation, and then they also try to give female contraceptives to other countries and to the women of our country. I don't know how you are going to take back something that is not just good for female and women's health, and because they do abortions, and then go and say that you also aren't going to help them raise this child.
I'm honest. Explain exactly what you mean by the female mutilations. I'm sorry. I'm actually not.
Kemp-Kasten.
What's that?
Kemp-Kasten amendment from the Reagan era.
Got it. So what does that have to do with Trump?
He repealed it, and it was he pulled funding back from this organization to fund UNFPA that he said that it was coercive abortion and it was involuntary sterilization.
Got it. So so that's the cause. What is the effect?
that is not actually what that organization does.
So like Planned Parenthood is 97% positive things, but 3% abortion. So essentially, how does that repeal actually affect affect you? What's that?
You were talking when I was talking. Repeat what you just said.
So
Excuse me, Mr. Vice President, I was speaking.
Yeah, well played.
Oh,
so
that was good.
that was good. That was good. I'm talking. No. So my question then is, what is by that repeal? What effect is it having? What is the cause and effect to repealing the Kemp Cassidy?
Because that organization helps to stop female mutilation, and it also helps to contraceptives for women all over the world. But he spun it in a way that it was actually coercive abortion and involuntary sterilization.
Spell it, Kemp what?
Kemp, KEMP KASTEN.
Got it. All right, I'm going to look it up a little bit more. With that, let's check to see how Kristen's internet is doing. Kristen, you look smoother again. What do you got for us? You there? Oh, I did that, not you. Sorry. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Go for it.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with our technology over here.
You're good. Go ahead.
So one of the biggest things that bothers me about abortion, okay, is at first little recap. I was born and raised into the Catholic Church. I was a born again Christian by the time I was 12. The first time I voted was for McCain back when I think this was the very first time Obama ran. And it wasn't until recently that I walked away from the church 100%, became a full-on atheist and went left. So just kind of give you an idea of where I've come from. I was very pro-life, so much so I would cry over aborted babies. I mean, just ridiculous stuff that I did. What most people don't understand about abortion is that the president has very little sway over Roe v. Wade. And Roe v. Wade isn't the end all be all when it comes to abortion at all.
Correct.
So when Roe v. Wade was passed in 1973, that's not when abortion became legal. It was legal since we founded this country. In fact, abortion was rampant at the very beginning in the 17 and 1800s. So much so that it was actually way more than it is now. And actually, the abortion rates today are lower than they were in 1973 when Roe v. Wade was passed. All Roe v. Wade says is that it is legal on it. It's federally protected. If it were to be overturned, it would go back to the states, and there will be some states that would make it illegal, and then there will always be states that make it legal. So there would be no end to abortion at all. It's never going to stop. That's one thing that everybody needs to understand. It's not going to stop. So if we can stop focusing on trying to stop it and shaming women and just get some more information out, we can lower that number. But to tell people that they don't have the right to their own body is just plain ridiculous. I would love to see one law where a man's body is under scrutiny, and there's several things that I've postulated. A man can get countless women pregnant, right? A woman can get pregnant once at a time. She can have multiple babies at once, but she can't get pregnant while pregnant, right?
Yeah.
So okay. I never understood why it's up to the woman to take birth control pills. It's up to the woman to worry about abortion. And when they bring that up, it's always an attack on the woman. Why aren't you taking responsibility for yourself and your actions? Okay, well, let's talk about that.
I got you.
Why can't we start funding monies to go into science to...
There we go. Kristen, you got to hear me when I cut you off. So you're a little over time. So I'm going to unmute you. As much as I would love Cash to answer the abortion question, I think I want to leave this as a female one. So I'm going to have Barb and Rachel go real quick, and then Chelly will pop down to you in a second. Then we'll get back to Kristen, and then we'll move on to the next question.
I wasn't going to answer the abortion question.
Oh,
Jake.
what's up?
Never
Sorry.
mind. Go for it. Let the ladies go.
All right. Let's have let's go Rachel. Let me have
I'm
Rachel.
sorry. I hate some of these people in the comments, and I meant that word when I said it. Hate. I see the comments going in right now, and some of these women are some nasty ass women in the comments. Just so you know, I said it, just like Trump would.
Well, then let's be
Nasty
nice.
ass
Let's
women.
be nice in the comment box because, again, for people that are just joining, we have grown the amount of people coming in. I'm going to
You will
encourage.
get blocked.
I'm going to be encouraging kindness and facts. If you disagree, stop having vehement disagreements without any fact. Don't call anybody names. Let's try to do that so that we don't get people heated in the show as well. Rachel, go ahead.
So personally, I'm pro-life. I actually am sort of the reverse of you, Kristen, because I used to be very, very pro-choice, and now I'm pro-life. As a libertarian, I actually really empathize with the argument about women's bodily autonomy. I think that it is really important. But to me, I also see a need for the fetus's bodily autonomy and the baby's right to life. And so I think that those things do come into competition. But in cases where the woman's life is not in direct threat, I do tend to prioritize the human life of the baby over the convenience or other less severe or immediate health factors than the life of the woman. I will say, though, you said name a law that gives the government, I think,
Cash,
control
did you have a
of men's
question?
bodies. How about?
What's that, Kristen? Remember, we have private chat, Kristen. Can you hear me? Rachel, go ahead.
I mean, when I think of a law that controls men's bodies, I actually think of California when Kamala Harris was Attorney General or prosecutor, when men who were incarcerated were forced to fight fires for basically no pay. I think that certainly gives the government a whole lot of leeway over men's bodies. Women certainly can be oppressed by the government, but men can too. And I think we need to have a consistent ethic on that. I would also add that for me, being pro-life is partially about, being against abortion, but there's more to a pro-life ethic. So I do agree that we need to find mechanisms to take care of women after they give birth to support families, so that it's not just we're pro-birth and we're banning abortion and that sort of stereotype that people tend to have about, pro-life people. I think that there are other things. I mean, for example, in the same vein of criminal justice reform, I'm against the death penalty, and I'm in favor of a lot of nonprofit organizations that help women who are pregnant or are new mothers to get resources to help make that easier. So I think that all of those things together can be part of a pro-life ethic, but certainly a pro-life ethic doesn't only apply to women's issues and to issues of abortion.
Got it. Excellent. All right, Chelly, we're going to have you talk. It doesn't have to be about abortion or pro-life, pro-choice, etc. This is going to be your final go-around on anything that was said on. Essentially, I'd love for you to cover women's rights, but it's totally up to you. Just the women's rights that you feel Trump is positive for or not positive for. But yeah, whatever you want to talk about here. Again, this is your last chance to talk about why you are a Trump voter as a female.
Okay, so for me as a female, why I choose to vote for Trump. One, the Obamacare stuff. I have plenty of family members that, first of all, Obamacare was too damn expensive. And then when they couldn't afford it, they got penalized for it. So I'm all for getting rid of it and try to figure out something that is going to work for all the people, not just certain people. That's one. The tax cuts. For the first time as a middle class, and I ever got any type of break. They got penalized.
Yeah, you're good.
Can you guys hear me or not?
No,
okay,
you sound
because I was
great.
hearing feedback. So as far as the tax cuts, first time ever in my life being middle class, any kind of tax break where there was some relief pushed my way. That's another one. The first crime, what is it called? The First Crime Act. So with all the mass incarcerations and giving people like her name is Alice, she was in prison for a very long time. The reform that actually let her out of prison her and several other people, but her name just popped to the top of my head. That's another big reason. Sanctions on China. China has been getting over on us forever, and everybody has been making money on that, except for us, the American people. So I'm all for that. Barb spoke on a lot of issues that I'm like right with her, so I don't want to bring those issues up again because I agree with everything exactly that she said. As far as abortion, Rachel kind of like covered that to a T. Like, there's no comeback after what Rachel said. Rachel dropped the mic on that. I do say that for me, like I've always been pro-choice prior. I am more kind of like pro-life now that I'm older and just a little wiser. So honestly, I'm gonna let Rachel drop the mic on that one because she said everything. I couldn't say it better.
Gotcha. All right. Before we go to Barb, I'm gonna have Cash. Do you have anything to go with right now?
Yeah, can I just weigh in real quick since the girls talked about it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, with abortion. All right, I gotta say this. I gotta say it. I don't have a problem with what a woman wants to do with her body. And I don't think anybody has a problem with what a woman wants to do with her body. I just don't want to pay for it. I should not be forced to have to pay for a woman who wanted to go out and sleep around after a night at the club or do whatever it was that she wanted to do. And now she's inconvenienced because she don't want to have to pay for this baby. So she can use abortion as a form of birth control at my expense. I'm not for the murder of babies. Okay. Now, when you talk about the Kemp Keston or whatever,
yeah,
women were dying. Women were dying. Okay. And if it's a life-threatening situation with the woman being pregnant, then hey, I understand. I get that. That's on your doctor. That's between you and the doctor will let you know if that's what needs to happen, and fine. But just when you wake up one day and say, oh, damn, I don't know if I'm pregnant by Brian, Jeffrey, or Tehran, I want to go have an abortion because it's going to inconvenience my life and I might have to go on the Maury show and I don't want to be embarrassed. Let me get rid of this baby so I don't look like I don't want to have to pay for it. Okay, that's all. Go ahead.
That makes sense. Oh, I saw Kristen and she left. All right, Barb, I want to go to you real quick because I want Chelly brought up her very specific reasons on Trump. I want if you can time
out. 1 second. Yeah. I gotta say this because this fucking moron, and I'm gonna say it, Charles Higgins in the comments. You are a simple-minded, probably unintelligent, probably unloved and unwanted male. And you're jealous of me, apparently, because you stay riding my dick all in the comment section. All right. I got 8 kids and I take care of all of them. I'm child support for one of them, which I pay up all the way to the end of the year, every year. Public record. You can look it up. I take care of mine. I'm not like you. You probably got kids that you don't take care of, and a woman that probably likes me more than she likes you. So jump off my dick and stay in your lane, bro, because I'm not the one. I eat you up on here. I don't got a problem with being an asshole. Just
Charles,
like
this is about the women.
Yeah, this is about the women.
Exactly.
Charles, unfortunately for Charles, he just got blocked. Or typically I would be moderating better, but I'm trying to get Kristen's stuff working, so I was not seeing the comments. Bye, Charles.
Just wanted to clown the goofy ass dude real quick. That's all.
I gotcha. All right, Kristen is somewhat moving back there. Barb, I would love on a woman's rights perspective. Chelly,
can I give a touch? Can I get a touch on that?
Yeah, go ahead, Curtis.
Really quick, and sorry, Barb, not to jump in and take your spot. I'm not mansplaining, I promise. No, it's only to you, Anthony. Really quick, couple things. For the somebody had mentioned something. I think it was you, Rachel, about men's bodies being forced while they were in jail. There's a slight difference with that, with being in jail. I don't agree with it 100%. There's mass incarceration. That is, to me, that's a form of slavery because they don't have any rights to enforce. But outside of jail, men and free women don't, if something like that to come up, not saying that law is there, but just saying that could be a slight difference in that right there. The other thing with Obamacare, and I think Chelly said this, I'm a big advocate on helping people understand the actual law. That is a Republican-based law. It is built to give the states the power to do their own in-health insurance. And I actually just found out the big difference in that because I moved from Georgia and I'm in New York. And in Georgia, I was paying a lot of money, still less than what I was paying on my dad's Cobra before Obamacare, or Affordable Care Act. Sorry, Obamacare is a name that people put, but Affordable Care Act. In New York now, I pay much less based on what I make. And that's because New York has their exchange from Affordable Care Act, and they created it for the state of New York. Georgia did not do that, and they have it for the entire, they get like a top-down plan from the federal government, which I don't like. I don't like the federal government to make a overall plan for everybody because it is trash. So that's the biggest difference on that one. So definitely look at your state and make sure if they don't have that exchange for the state, then talk to them, because that's the one of the big problems, because there's not a state. And the last thing is abortion. I agree with Cash. I am pro-life. I don't feel like I want to pay for it, but at the same time, me being pro-life, I will raise as much money as I can and create as much as I can to help women that do choose to have their babies, because I want the women to understand that just because I don't want a woman to have an abortion, I am going to be on the other side to help support women if they do have a child and they don't feel the pressure of not having the financial means to provide for that child to lead to an abortion. So I'm on that end. I'm sorry that was a little too long.
No, you're all good. All right, so Barb, I think I'm going to have you wrap up this topic, and then we're going to get to why Biden or why not Biden. So Barb, from a female perspective, female issues, and the way Trump has handled his family life, whatever it is, do you have reasons as a female to vote for Trump?
Again, I agree a lot on what has been said. I know the raging hot issue is abortion. And so, I mean, either you believe that is morally, ethically wrong, or you do not. And there's no changing that. You can't legislate like beliefs, you can't legislate beliefs. And like the same thing, I just don't want to be compelled to financially contribute to something that I actually believe is murder. Like it's just how I feel. I'm not trying to offend someone. It's how I feel. I genuinely feel that baby's life in there is precious, and I don't want to do anything myself to kill that baby. So I don't want my taxpayer money to go to something that I am so strongly opposed to. I have, my heart goes out to women who are in terrible situations, who struggle with the situation. I'm not going to pretend to know what that's like. I don't want to pronounce judgment on anyone. I just don't want to be forced to participate in any way, shape, or form in something that I don't agree on. I'm not going to criminalize or villainize somebody who does that, but don't make me do it as well. And so that's where, I vote for Trump, because he is on the pro-life side, and he advocates to work with women and to support the women and have their babies and go that path instead of what he views it the same way as murder. And I know he did change his mind along that path. And as for how he treats women, I mean, the women that work for him have nothing but good things to say about him of what I've heard. And so, his staff, Kellyanne Conway, that got her start with him and rose her career through him. She speaks highly of him, Kayleigh McInerney, Sarah Huckabee. So, I don't have any personal knowledge of how he treats women or what he does. So I'm not going to speak on that.
All good. I like that. No, that was good. All right. So here's what we're going to do. First off, I'm just going to recap it real quick. I think what's interesting is we share, there's opinions that were shared. I know that the comments got a little bit, feisty on the side, but ultimately there was some levels of agreement between each group in this discussion. And I think the abortion topic is very interesting, because I feel as though women, look, and this is Anthony mansplaining. Women can look at this as pro-life is pro-women, and then the other side will look at it as pro-choice is pro-woman. It really is still pro-human. It's whatever the human has a different belief and a different vision of a different guise, they're going to have slightly different opinions. And I very similarly am actually lean on a pro-choice side in terms of allowing women to have the choice of their bodies, but I do believe that there's a certain level of, when is it a mistake? What can you do to control it? And at the same time, I really try to stay out of the conversation, because I do not think it involves me. But what I do advocate for is when people say it's absolutely ridiculous to be pro-life, you look at other women that say, I firmly believe that pro-life is pro-woman. So I think it can be looked at in two different ways. All right, so here's the next topic, and I'm hoping Kristen is getting set up, because this is the one that I really like to have our Biden voters answer, because it's always the hardest one to answer. It's why Biden or why not Biden? So I'm going to start with Kristen is backstage. Let's see if she's working. Are you working, Kristen?
So, can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Go for it.
Okay. Okay, so the main reasons why I voted for Biden, a lot of it had to do with women's rights. Although I'm no longer having children, I've had all the kids I'm going to have. It's still very important to me, as it is to millions of women across the country. I've honestly been terrified until I had a better understanding of Roe v. Wade. I was terrified about it being overturned. Now I don't feel as scared about it. So there's that. I do understand the point of Trump because he's not a politician, and that appeals to a lot of people. However, it is, to me, I feel like it can make you unqualified in some ways. So Biden has been in office for a gajillion years. He's very well spoken. He's educated. His wife is educated. I just like his policies. He wasn't my top
what policies?
either, you know.
What policies?
Did you say what policies?
Mm-hmm.
I just like the policies mostly regarding women keeping LGBTQ rights, because a lot of people on the conservative side want to see some of those gone, and that's just something I can't allow to happen. When it comes to like foreign affairs and what have you, I think he just has a little bit of to me, I think he has a cleaner record. I don't know how to put this. I'm trying to make sure I don't say anything that isn't factual. I don't see him doing things and saying things that are untrue as often as the other side has in the past. I think that one of the biggest things on his thing is legalizing marijuana across the country, or decriminalizing it and letting criminals free that are in jail.
Are you talking about Trump? Are you talking about Trump or Biden?
Biden.
You do realize you're talking about Trump, right?
No. What do you mean? Please educate me. Tell me.
Cash, go ahead.
Are you saying that?
Do you think prison reform was Biden's idea while he was not working in the government in the last couple of years? Prison reform was executed by Trump and let out minor offenses, and he's actually not against decriminalizing marijuana. He's not necessarily against, or he's not necessarily for legalizing it, but he's for you've literally explained all of Trump's platforms that he's actually been putting in place.
Also, he's the only president in history to ever come in support of LGBTQ rights.
Hold on, Lindsay. Sorry, I have you muted. Lindsay, I want Lindsay to follow up, and then we'll go to some of our other women. But you've literally just named off points from Trump. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Okay. Is this my platform? Because I'm not ready. Circle back, because I want to have this like all formatted.
All right, I was just muting you because of the dog, so you're good now. All right, Chelly, I know you're getting huffy puffy. I want you to respond to Kristen's points.
So you want me to respond to Kristen's points that were all about Trump, things Trump did, but she stated that Biden did them.
Correct.
Okay. So sometimes I don't even know how to respond to that, because you spoke on why you voted for Biden, but stated everything that Trump did. And I don't want this to turn into like a little cat fight or whatever. I just want to focus on actual facts. So anything to do with, let me count the ways. You said that you liked Biden because he was more educated and he didn't lie. So that's what you said. I wrote it. I got notes. I'm taking notes because it's a lot of stuff at one time. But you said you spoke about Biden, and you said that you preferred him because he was educated and because he does not lie. So Biden has lied about several things. We talked about it earlier when we talked about the fact that he said that he didn't know anything about these allegations and he totally denied them. That's the one that Anthony and I believe Kristen were going back and forth about. So that's one. That's a lie. A lie is a lie. We don't have little lies, big lies. It's a lie. We talked about what else did we talk about? Now I could give why I'm not voting for Biden too, right? Like, is this the time or is this the question?
Why not? Yeah, this is the why not Biden. And she also brought up the foreign affairs if you want to get into that.
But you want us to be based on facts. Those are like still under the stuff with
That's true. Actually, that's a very valid point. That's still alleged. Very good point. All right.
That's the only reason I want, because otherwise I don't have it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead. Let's keep it moving. Let's stay short on everybody. Rachel, I know that you're gonna have to switch to your phone quickly. So
I want
Rachel,
to talk about why I'm not voting for Biden.
Go ahead, and then we're gonna go to Rachel then.
I was answering her.
And then we'll go to Barb.
I'm not voting for Biden because of the 1994 crime bill. That's one of the main reasons. I'm not voting for Biden because of the Segregation Act. I'm not voting for Biden because his use of the N-word, and it's out there. That's a fact. It's proven. It's a speech. I actually have it and can send it to each and every one of you if you'd like. Referring to people as predators. The fact that he has not apologized for any of that. Never has he ever come forward and said anything to do about feeling regret for the crime bill. Like, I've never heard it. Like, I'm not going to talk about Trump because we're not talking about Trump right now. So for me, as a minority, those are like the main reasons that I cannot vote for Biden. The fact that I don't feel Biden is actually even his mental state and all that stuff, people make fun of him. I actually feel sorry for him because I feel that he does have some issues, not just a stutter. And I feel that the Democratic Party is using him as a pawn for their game.
All right. Okay. So to prove that I am fair, and Kristen, we will go back to you. That wasn't the end of your why Biden. Don't worry. We're going to do that. Before we go to Rachel, to prove that I am impartial, I will fact check you, Chelly. The speech where Biden said the N-word is taken very out of context. Did he say it factually? Yes. He was reading a document written by a different senator or congressman. He was reading something that somebody had said and how terrible it was. So I will say you can look at some of the issues he has had with race and with his very vehement feelings on segregation. But I do want to be factual. He was not in our parliament or in government or in Congress actually speaking out and saying the N-word over and over again. I just want to be clear that is factually incorrect, but it was said out loud, which in that day and age was fine to repeat other people. And today you can't even repeat other people. And that's part of the way that we've changed. But I do want to fact check that real quick.
Fact checked also, Biden still did say that the KKK guy was his mentor and guide and did eulogize him.
Well, right. The fact really quick, there wasn't a fact check. You just added that, Cash.
I know.
So make sure you say that I'm adding because that's extra. So we want to moderate.
No, it was a fact.
Let's not add. But I will say really quick too, presidential nominee Joe Biden did say he supports decriminalizing marijuana and thinks people should not be incarcerated for drug possession, but should instead be forced into treatment. So that is something that Biden is saying, not just Trump. They both, I believe, are saying that. So let's just make sure everybody knows both have said that.
They are both saying it, but we are trying to separate the two candidates. Why Biden instead of Trump? If they're both doing it, that would not be
but this is the thing you said that was a Trump talking point.
Trump did
I just had to. I just want to make sure we just want to say,
yeah,
you know that, right?
That's all. I just want to make sure we're fair.
I ever have tonight. Because you guys are trying to say that we gotta let the women talk, but God, it is so hard for me to sit here and not just
smoke a cigarette. I know.
Rachel,
I know I'm making it hard for you, Lindsay.
Let's do it, Rachel.
I'm watching. I can't.
I love that my guests, my co-hosts are making it harder to organize. Sweet Jesus, Rachel, it's your turn. Go ahead.
Well, with regard to Biden, first of all, the things that I like about him, he has a long record in Congress when he was back in Congress, when he was, I believe, in the Senate, of achieving bipartisan cooperation, of having constructive relationships with people across the aisle. I think having somebody with that experience as president could be constructive for the civic culture of the country. Personally, again, I said I'm a huge proponent of free trade. He does have a better record, in my opinion, on trade. His Made in America plan is a little bit too similar to Trump's, actually, for my taste. But his history, I would say, on the issue is a little bit better for people who strongly support free trade. He, I believe, is more likely to raise the number of legal immigrants that we allow into the country. Trump has actually decreased the amount of legal immigrants that we take in addition to opposing illegal immigration. And I would prefer to have a president that will allow more legal immigrants into the country. And then solely on paper alone, his criminal justice reform platform with Kamala Harris is pretty good. It eliminates the death penalty, it ends incarceration for drug possession, it reforms qualified immunity. So on paper alone, those are things that I really like. However, as has been said before, his actual record on criminal justice reform, especially along with Kamala's, is just atrocious. So it really gives me a level of distrust about whether he will implement these things when it comes to being in office. So that's something that definitely makes me uneasy. Another thing for me is that he favors gun control, and he's even mentioned appointing Beto O'Rourke to be in charge or in control of gun control. Beto O'Rourke is the one who said, maybe this isn't the direct quote, but something to the effect of, hell yeah, I'll take your guns. That is really not something that I appreciate. And especially, I believe that the right to a firearm, the Second Amendment, can be the greatest equalizer for women when they're in danger. As somebody who has been a victim of sexual violence in the past, that is very near and dear to my heart. So it's hard for me to support somebody who is going to be a very big proponent of gun control. He also has
Unity Cruise.
He's also, raised uncertainty about whether or not he'll pack the Supreme Court. I think that that is detrimental to our institutions. I think that making the Supreme Court something that we can just increase or decrease each term, each time the presidency switches around, is not really good for institutional stability in this country at all. And then finally, he is likely to raise taxes, increase spending. I know that Trump has not really made a dent in the deficit at all, but I do think that federal spending would increase and accelerate under Biden. So I would rather have a president like maybe Joe Jorgensen, who wouldn't increase the deficit at all, and who would actually decrease the federal deficit and the national debt. But if we're going to be real, Jo Jorgensen is not going to get elected. No offense to her. And so when I look at who's going to increase the national debt more, I think that Joe Biden is probably the right candidate for that.
I am learning.
I got to say something real quick. Rachel, you said you're 21 years old. You are going to be brilliant. If you ever get into politics, you are dope because you're not biased. And that's the great thing about you. You're just spitting the facts, and I love it. So kudos to you. You're dope. You're welcome on my show, Anthony's show, anytime that you want. Anytime you want to get on and talk about
she might host it. I'm going to have her host it. Forget this.
Straight up. You are dope. Straight up.
The only fact check we have.
I go for that if she wanted to host 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Way over her. I'm all her over Anthony. Her, me, and Cash, 100%. We're good.
All day long. No answer.
Cash is going into politics, right? Cash, you're in politics now? You got a VP?
Yeah, there's your VP.
No, I'm not running for governor, but yeah, I am actually sitting down with the Republican VP, and I am getting into politics. You're right.
So the only minor correction, and you even said you weren't sure, but it was pretty damn close. It was, hell yeah, we're going to take your AR-15 and your AK-47. AR-15 is not I think a lot of anti-gun people think AR-15 means automatic rifle. It does not. So anyways, you were besides that, yep, you got it. All right. So if it's okay, Kristen, before we go back to you, I would love to go to Barb.
Wait, I didn't get to go. I passed.
We still have to go to you, Lindsay. Don't worry. We got Lindsay. We got Kristen. Okay. Barb. All right, so we are currently, I know we've swayed a little bit, but we are on the why not Biden.
Biden is part of the Democratic Party that I have come to mistrust as a whole. I mean, I really started paying attention to them when Benghazi happened. That's near and dear to me, the betrayal of our troops. And Biden was, and I know they weren't technically troops, but betrayal of our Americans, including our U.S. ambassador. So that's an issue and an event that really struck home for me because of personal reasons, a lot of correlation to my own case when my husband was killed by another soldier in the military. Kind of covered a whole bunch of stuff up with that. So that's why that resonated with me. And I started paying attention to Biden, and he was a part and parcel of all of that stuff that happened. And that's when I started paying attention to the Democratic Party as a whole. And I just, one layer after another of things they do has caused me to distrust them. And the pandering is just ridiculous. Like, for instance, saying that we shouldn't care about color or gender, but then going out and saying, well, I'm going to make sure my VP candidate is a Black woman. Like, if we're not supposed to care, then why are you caring? You know, so like double talk and and just the hypocrisy of it all. So for me, I guess it is a lot more on feelings, but now we have all this stuff coming up with these emails and Hunter Biden and how he was so actively part of that Democratic mob. I look at it that impeached Trump for things that is coming out that now the Democrats did. So it's more like a rat pack mentality for me. I feel like it's a bunch of snakes doing things that we just cannot trust. They should not be trusted to lead us based on, you know, that I just tie him and I lump him with Hillary and all the things that happened in that campaign and in that administration that I just don't trust them. And one thing out of his mouth after another that he says, and Kamala, who I think would ultimately be running the country, because I don't believe that Biden will last in government. I think he's a Trojan horse to get Kamala and even Pelosi or whoever they have next lined up in. I don't believe that they intend to keep him as president. And that's why Pelosi was starting all that stuff with the, what was it, the 25th Amendment to put in place to get the president removed. And I think that's why they have that plan in place to get Biden out almost as soon as he's in and put their real candidate in place.
Well done. So it's a lot of,
I love it.
Yeah, a lot of foreign relations, understandably. Before we move over to Lindsay, Rachel, while you were getting your phone out, you had a bunch of people ask you to actually leave and not come back. I'm kidding. They would like, if you could, what is your website? How can people find you, Rachel? Oh, I have you muted. That's me. I'm an ass. Sorry.
Am I unmuted now?
No, you're good. What's your website?
So it's called wavecenter.org. It is called the Wave Center for Policy and Enterprise. So we also have a Twitter. It's at WaveCenterTU. And I, will share their stuff as well personally.
All right, so I have that now. If anybody wants to look, it's now in her little box underneath her photo, her picture. I know it's small. Look at Chelly. Chelly, get your glasses on. All right, so, all right, Lindsay, you are up. Go ahead and explain why Biden, and then we're going to circle right to Kristen right after that. Lindsay, why are you voting for Joe Biden?
If we are sticking to just the topic of women's rights, which I was under the impression that's what we were doing.
If that's your main points, yeah.
What?
No, I said if that's your main core reasons, absolutely, yes. Please stick to it.
I've got a bunch. Okay, first of all, the abortion thing, I don't really have a foot in that game because gay. Like, I can't get somebody pregnant. I can't have a night out at the club and, like, accidentally come up pregnant. Like, it's not going to – I don't need condoms or birth control. I'm good. But I do have the fact that he came out after having somebody say that he was inappropriate with them, and he – to my knowledge, from the things and the interviews I've seen and the words that have come out of his mouth, he did apologize, whereas Trump, with his 26, he's just threatened to sue them. They also had under the Obama administration, Biden and Obama, they created a women and girls council of the White House. And in 2017, Trump very, very quietly disbanded that. They also Biden has promised to help with Social Security. Anthony, you know Chase. I spoke to both of Chase's parents, and that was their number one reason of Social Security care, as well as my mom. And I am concerned about how we are going to take care of our elderly and how we can institute more sexual education and contraceptives instead of just anti-abortions.
What is that? So I'm not correcting anything you've said, because you're spot on the things you've said in terms of what you want to happen. But how does that relate to Biden's plan? Because not all of it is. It's a liberal ideal and it is a democratic ideal in a lot of ways, but it's not things that have been mentioned by Biden, a little bit by Kamala, but these are not.
I don't believe that everybody has also addressed like just things that have been like women related or just Kamala or Biden. I'm talking about like the policies that Biden has said that he wants to implement. And those are things that I can get behind. The things that he has done. Hey, Cash, he posted something about like Biden in 47 years of politics only created one job, and that was for Hunter Biden. Okay, but it's not just that.
So what is it?
What?
Then what is it? So that was one thing Rachel said.
I'm saying that I'm voting for Biden because he has a plan to do these things, and people keep saying that he's had 47 years of politics and he hasn't done anything, but he has. So I'm trying to bring up the things that he has also done, and that's why I'm voting for him. I'm voting for him because of what he has done and what he says he's going to do. And these are the things that he says he's going to do.
So let's give it a floor and let her explain the things that he's done. And go ahead.
Well, the thing is, I want to know, you haven't brought up what you've only been bringing up platform. And as Rachel said, she mentioned his platform sounds very, very good, but she's questioning because of the 40. And that's kind of what Cash has said, questioning the 47 years in office and nothing being done. So all the things you're saying are platform based and not based on his track record. So he's technically
no. I'm bringing up things within when he was vice president. Him and Obama created a women, because we're talking about women's rights.
Sorry, you're right.
Women and Girls Council. And then Trump disbanded that.
You're correct. That was my fault. I forgot about that. That is the one overriding point that was Biden's track record. Correct?
I can't prove this, and I know that that's what your question is going to be.
Go ahead.
The payment of men versus women in the White House staff, it was better with Obama. Like it's right now, it went down 17% from 82 cents on the dollar to 69 cents on the dollar.
13 cents. Okay. All right. I'm going to look that up. While you're looking it up, I'm going to have Kristen, if your audio is working, Kristen, are you ready to go? Are you ready to do a little why Biden section here? Because I know I cut you off a little bit before. Yes. So I want to why Biden, and I'm going to be looking up the payment for females.
Okay. So assuming y'all can hear me.
You're good.
First, to Chelly, I did not say he did not lie. You can go back and see it. I said he did not lie as much. All people lie, as one of the most famous quotes. If you ever watched the TV show House, Dr. Gregory House, everybody lies. Fact, okay? I did not vote for Biden because he is astronomically better than Trump, okay? But I did vote for him, which I think is interesting because you are a police officer. Is that correct, Chelly?
Yes, it is correct. I think I might have muted her. Sorry.
No, I muted myself.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you. So one of the biggest things that I'm on board with is the defunding of police. And I know whenever you say that, those words, defunding police, people get really excited in both good and bad ways. But coming from somebody who does a lot of work in suicide prevention and mental illness, this is a huge area. There are so many people who get shot by police, white, black, it doesn't matter, who are mentally ill. and they are in a schizophrenic break. They are on drugs. They are in a dangerous place, and cops are very ill-equipped to deal with it. They are not social workers. I'm not to say that some are and some aren't. Maybe you are. I don't know. But for the most part, social workers are the ones that need to be on the ground. And a big part of defunding the police, people think that means that we're going to take money away from the police departments and just, that's it. That's not what that means. We're not disbanding the police. We need the police. The police is a very necessary part of society. What we do mean is that we're going to take a small portion of the monies that goes into funding police departments to add a department of social workers, so that when you get a call for 911, somebody's acting erratically, and 911 dispatch doesn't necessarily know what's going on. You get on the scene and you realize this person is on drugs right now, inebriated, and some is having a mental health crisis, right? This cop is going to escalate the problem most of the time. I say most of the time. So part of that funding is to teach how to de-escalate those situations and to assess whether or not this is a police matter or a social worker matter. Because it's to me, there are many cases when it is just crime and it needs to be dealt with. Fine, whatever. But when there are these cases of a suicide that's about to take place, and they're calling for help, or like I said, mental illness, a schizophrenic break, a bipolar break, the police just can't do it by themselves. So that's one of the things that I voted for with Biden, because according to his platform, that's something that they support, and that's something that will always have my support. Again, we did talk about the abortion already. Another thing is on gun control. See, I'm a liberal, but I'm from Texas, okay? I shoot guns all the time. I will not confirm nor deny if I own a gun, but I absolutely believe in the Second Amendment. It is extremely important. However, I do not think it's a problem to ask every gun owner in America to take a mental evaluation from a certified psychiatrist. I would do it right now. And if that psychiatrist comes back and is like, okay, you're not okay, then that part sucks. But I think that would cut down on people getting guns that shouldn't have guns. Because no, everybody shouldn't. Somebody who has a very serious mental disorder should not have weapons. That's just where I'm at. But I do not think that we should take our guns away. I do think that automatic weapons and semi-automatic weapons are completely unnecessary. But that's just my personal opinion.
A lot of handguns. All right, Kristen, I want to, because you were directly talking about police, I do want to go to Chelly. I want to go back to Lindsay's fact briefly. Go ahead.
I'm going to go eat. I'm going to go eat. I'm out of here. I'm out. I'm having a hard time, bro. I'm about to get off.
All right. Later.
All right. Catch you later.
All right. So here's what we got, guys. In terms of what Lindsay said, in terms of women in Trump's White House. So it had a 13 or 14% difference. There's a commentary done. I'm watching the USA Today. There's a New York Times that said it increased 3 times, which there is no math to back that up. It's saying that it went from 4% different to, I guess, 12%, which I guess that's how they're figuring out the 3 times. Here's the situation. They're not saying of equal positions. So they're finding a statistic that would make sense and look scary. So ultimately, the difference is in Obama's White House, he had a larger White House, first off, which means the numbers are going to always be percentage a little bit closer because it's a larger helping. And in his top positions, the ones that were paid the most, it was exactly 50-50, whereas in Trump's, it's about 42-68, 58, sorry, 42-60. So there is a little bit of a throw there, and that's still a negatable number. It's not like it's like 70-30. It's
okay,
very.
Here's the funny thing is you can't tell me what somebody gets paid because Trump himself repealed the transparency of equal pay. That's why you can't put positions. You can't tell me like this person and this person they got paid.
No, they're not showing the specific. They do have. Hey, Lindsay, let me finish. They have to break it up into every level, not the exact position, high level, mid-level, low level. So it's based on the fact that there is certain people in different groups. We don't know their specific jobs, correct, But at the same time, also since Trump has been in office since 2017 to 2020, he's actually narrowed the margin because that fact is from 2017, 7.1%. So we're within about 6% of the original number.
2021 then.
What's that?
Look up the 2021 then.
We're in 2020. I'm looking up 2020. 2020 is showing 7% higher. So the whole issue is you're not comparing apples to that article, like typical mainstream media is not comparing
apples to apples because he made it so you can't see it, Anthony.
We're comparing different levels of office. Chelly, it was about cops. I want to get to you. Go ahead, Chelly. Go for it.
Okay, so how this turned into police stuff, I don't know, but I'm here for it. So when you talk about like defunding the police and what that means, depending on what state at local levels, that means many different things. So it can mean many different things. Okay? When you talk about being a police officer and being with suicide, dealing with people who have suicidal intentions and people who are having mental breakdowns, whether it's bipolar, whatever it is, to say that an officer would not know or alarm wouldn't go in their head that this is a mental crisis and get them the medical care they need, that's false. Sorry, that's a common sense issue, okay? Because I know the difference very well of a person who's in crisis and a person who's not in crisis. I know the difference between a criminal and a person who's not a criminal. The fact that you said that the cops are out here shooting these people with all these mental illnesses, show me the facts. Because now you're just speaking off speculation. That's not a fact. That is wrong. Do I believe that they need to have some funding for people that have mental issues? Yeah, but when you say, oh, well, we just want social workers, so when are we going to stop? When are we going to guess? Oh, wait, let me stop you right there, sir, because according to you, I don't know when they're having a mental breakdown. So when am I going to stop them and from stabbing someone or doing something else because they're having to make a mental breakdown? That's a very big difference. You're talking about two totally different things. Oh, that you need a social worker. I can tell you right now, I know tons of social workers who said they're not responding to jobs without having the police present.
I agree with that. They should be together.
But to say that I wouldn't know that when someone's suicidal or feeling suicidal, or that someone they're having a mental breakdown, or that a child is autistic, what you guys don't see is that all the reform that has been happening before this election, that happened way before Trump came into office. I've been on this job 23 and a half years. There has been reform for decades already. Since I first came into the job, it's only more on the forefront now because people are using it as political gain. They're using it as leverage for their parties. That's all it's for, and that's on both sides. I'm talking about both sides. That's the honest truth. We have been, Chicago itself, and I'm speaking specifically of Chicago because I live in Chicago, we have been under reform for years. Lori Lightfoot, who is our current mayor, ran the DOJ that came in, but guess what? We were under reform before that. Like, people never want to talk about the real issues. That doesn't start at the local level of police. That goes with bosses and up. People that were getting away with shit, all the people you're talking about out there killing people and all this kind of stuff. Like that, if you want to talk about real issues, let's talk about the bosses who had children and they were getting away with stuff. And guess what? Yeah. That didn't start with a regular police officer like me. And to say that we're just out there killing people that are mentally ill or people that are suicidal, I want to see your facts on that, because that's false.
Okay, I can actually, I'll get your email. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Because I did not actually, what I said was it happens often. So you've got to be careful. Words matter. I did not say that cops are just out there shooting willy-nilly, because I didn't think that. Words matter. Here in Dallas, Texas alone, I know of a case of a 13-year-old boy who was autistic, and the cops were called by his own mother because he was having a tantrum that was bad. It got violent. He was shot. He was killed. There was another man who had duct taped himself to a wheelie chair, like the kind you have at a desk, and he was rolling around in an intersection. Come to find out, he was schizophrenic. For his medicine, he was shot and killed. It happens all the time. Did it happen to you personally? I don't know. I'm not saying every single cop. I am very careful with the words that I'm using here, but it absolutely happens. And it happens a lot. I believe that.
Kristen, often is a word that's very different than sometimes.
Exactly.
It happens on occasion is one thing. Saying often means that it's a regular daily occurrence. Technically, you'd be more accurate to say cops die often in the line of duty because it's happening daily. What you're speaking of is not a daily occurrence. It is an outlier. Just like, cops dying in the line of duty is tragic, and it is not a everyday, well, based on the numbers, it's pretty close this year, but it still would not fall under the category of, by definition in the English language, often. So
then I will concede to that and use the word sometimes instead.
Got it.
Go ahead, Chelly.
I said, you said often and all the time.
You did say all the time, but you transitioned to often. Okay. We are going to go to, let's see where we're at right now. We went into the police topic. We're going to wrap the Biden thing up, and then we're going to end it with one last thing of why does Biden get a pass and why Trump, why does Biden get a pass on all of his previous missteps and Trump doesn't get a pass. Okay. So before we do that, does anybody else want to say one more of why Biden?
The only other thing I was throwing in there was more Kamala, and that was because I do believe in universal health care and universal education. I think that it's insanely important. The knowledge is absolute power. Nothing is more powerful than a solid, good education. And a lot of people can't afford one, and a lot of people are disenfranchised. And same with medical care. I see people in the mental health field, people who are suffering. So much of the Dallas homeless population is mentally ill, and they have zero access to health care. And that is, to me, it's an abomination. And I don't know 100% that Biden would fix that immediately. I don't know. But according to their platform, one of the things that they want to start pushing for is moving towards socializing medicine, healthcare, and education, at least up into the bachelor's degree.
Does anybody have a direct reply to that, or can I take that? Barb, do you have something directly reply to that?
I hear the word socializing, leading towards socialism, and that is just another reason for me to veer away from Biden and the Democrats, because we are about capitalism, and I just don't believe that socialism is the path for this country. Got it. So, I have to directly reply, because you're part of the speaking points with Trump we talk about are about the fact that he is trying to lower drug costs, medicine costs, because the only way for that quote unquote close to socialized medicine to work is for it to become more affordable. And the issues that you're bringing up about people not being able to get the healthcare they need is we are still living under the same plan that Obama and
not 100%, because they have struck down some things, and they have all not have bought into the entire exchange. So we cannot give the entire overall, because in certain states it is very affordable to get drugs. Yep. Well, not drugs, but you know what I mean, like medicine.
No, I know. I'm talking specifically about people.
There's a cop.
What?
So there's a cop right there. You're talking about getting drugs affordably. Never mind. Go ahead.
That's a joke. That was a misstep. Please don't record this and then play it on a soundbite and say Curtis wants to give out drugs. That's not true.
I'm not working.
Go ahead, Anthony.
No, you're good. I'm saying that in terms of the current healthcare plan that we are in, for the most part, for the issues that you are saying, we are under the plan that Obama and Biden created in terms of the way that we are having our healthcare treated for people that are underprivileged and underserved. And then in terms of education, we have not seen the proper viewpoint of the platform, the view of the platform of how we're going to fix education. Whereas as much as I hated Betsy DeVos when she got put in office, when she got put into her position, I am very shocked at the fact that she has set up things for the underprivileged in a better way than was there before. Is it good? No. Is it a little bit better? Yes. She's actually doing school choice, as well as what's the other one? The charter school program actually makes a lot of sense for the underserved and underprivileged. So I do think some of the things you're talking about, Kristen, don't don't fully ring true to a Biden America. So I know that it's a platform like, hey, we're going to go ahead and fix the education problem. It's the same as when in middle school, which Rachel is very close to. She's only like 7 years removed, when they used to go, hey, we're the president. We want to win president of student body, and we want to get soda in every classroom. Everybody goes, yeah, I'm voting for that. Just because you say it doesn't mean it's possible. And that wasn't a dig on Rachel. That was a compliment on the fact that she's able to talk the way she is. And she literally was in middle school 7 freaking years.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Am I right? Am I right?
I can't concentrate. I can't hear.
I think I had just gotten out of middle school.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Let's go to the final point.
I'm gonna do a face mask after this.
I do think. Oh, Rachel dropped her phone. All right, so here's what we got, guys. First off, I do think we've hit our stride a little bit in terms of organizing the conversation. I always need to learn that bringing 5 people on is always a tall task. But here's the last point, and I do want to make this relatively quicker. And the first person that's going to raise their hand up on this one gets to go quickly, goes first. Why? Not you, Curtis. Why does she raised her hand and she lost her phone? Why does Biden get a pass on his previous missteps, like his beliefs on segregation, the crime bill from 1994 that he still supported in 2016, plagiarism, his lies of his educational background, his a little bit weird sniffing of people, and then a lot of the things he says that could be considered the same thing that Trump gets with dog whistles in terms of when you look at the comments on "You Ain't Black If" or the one about the clenched fist recently that nobody called out in any way, shape, or form, and then also the way that his actual policy worked when he was in his early 30s in office in terms of the Vietnam refugees. All these are things that would look onto anti-immigration, anti-helping, anti-black, anti-minority, and anti-being honest and distasteful. So why is it that we only attack Trump's grabbed by the P comment and some of the other ones? Why does Trump not get a pass and Biden does? Who wants to go first?
Really quick, though. Really quick. Are you saying?
No, let Rachel go.
Wait. I'm not going. Just to clarify the question, are you saying why do the Democrats give Biden a pass? Because the Republicans don't. I don't give him a pass. But I'm just saying, is that
media? Let's go with why does the media, which is the only thing that apparently we see as a public, why does the media give the media? Good call, Curtis. Why does the media give one a pass and not the other? Who wants to go first? Sorry.
I'm gonna leave my minutes to Rachel.
Rachel, go. Yeah, you're good, Rachel.
This way.
I'm just gonna speak now because honestly, my phone is about to die, and I'm
all right. Go
gonna
for
have
it.
to exit pretty soon. But I think that honestly, a large part of it is just Biden's demeanor makes it a lot easier for people to scrutinize him less and to imagine that he is a more comfortable and sort of more civilized choice. I think that in some ways, no matter how you compare the policies, Trump does shoot himself in the foot a little bit with the way that he speaks. It makes it very, very easy for people to criticize him. Biden, on the other hand, while he still historically has said some really, really questionable things, even now has a lot of gaffes on his campaign, he speaks in sort of a way that the media, I think, is very accustomed to coming from a politician. So it's not jarring for them. And I think it doesn't raise the same red flags as the way that Trump speaks. I also think that even though Trump is a Republican and, that tends to be associated with being better for business interests, I think that Biden historically has been a relatively corporate politician and a corporatist candidate. I think that he's somebody who definitely has an alignment with some, corporate big business interests, maybe with the media as well. And so I think that also can make him seem, the more establishment choice. While, I think to some extent, Trump is actually very fun for the media. I think the media loves to have something to talk about. They love to have something to generate outrage because it's very easy for them to monetize. So in that sense, Trump gives them more material in an immediate sense, and they're going to make something of it, and they're going to make a story out of it. With Biden, sometimes you actually have to look more into his policy and more into his history to find things to immediately criticize and things to spark an outrage. Because the way that he speaks, it doesn't sound like it's outrageous, even when certain policies of his, especially, among people in my generation and people who, didn't grow up in a time when some of his policies, like the 1994 crime bill, were more normalized and more mainstream. Like, that's a little bit harder for the media to generate outrage over. So I think that's part of it. But yeah, thank you for having me on. I'm gonna have to disconnect.
No, you're good.
But I've so appreciated talking to all of y'all and listening to this discussion. I feel like I've learned a lot.
Yeah, get out of here with your smart words.
Yeah, get out of here. So 2 things, Rachel, if you don't freeze and fall out when we're out here. One, I think that once a week we should do a 5-minute speech on what you feel on current events right here on Be the Change. So we'll talk about if you're interested in doing that. I think you'd be fantastic doing some facts. Oh, I think she froze right during then. I'm going to have to, oh no, she's there. I don't know who's, hold on. Check. I think it might be your phone. Either way, Rachel, you are phenomenal. And we're going to see you on the program for Change
Okay, I
Makers.
can hear you now.
Okay, we'll see you on the program for Change Makers. Also, I want to see if you want to do a weekly quick hit, 5-minute speech on opinions on politics. So we'll talk about it later. Get out of here. You are awesome. I appreciate you weighing in. And I am curious which way you're going to vote. You don't ever have to tell me, but I am curious. See you later. All right. Chelly's like, aye. Okay. So now why does Biden get a pass? I do want to start this with, I do want to go next to one of our 2 liberals that are left. I like that we're just dropping like flies. Kristen, let's have you go first. Do you believe that he gets a pass? Do you not believe that he passes? Is it something you just don't worry about or whatever it might be? Kristen, go ahead. Why does Biden get a pass on his previous missteps? Segregation, crime bill, Vietnam refugees, plagiarism, lies in education, his sniffing people, dog whistles. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So I think he does get a little bit more of a pass than Trump does. But I think it does steam back to what Rachel just said, and that's Trump says some very outrageous things, and he has throughout his entire career, like grab him by the, you can take whatever you want, look at her dog face. He's very vocal about women, their bodies, how they look. Biden doesn't really talk about that. He could have the exact same viewpoint, but he doesn't say it out loud on television. And that's where I was going back to why words matter. And I think one of the largest reasons why many countries in the world look at us as it's embarrassing, because our commander in chief, the one who's in charge of it all, the one that is supposed to be speaking for all of us, speaks like a drunk teenager often. You don't see it as much now, I guess, that he's on the news like every day. But I mean, his record is atrocious with the things that he says, especially about and towards women.
What?
He also
Stop, Kristen. What? Yeah. So I want some examples of what he has said towards women during his presidency that are so outlandish and so ridiculous. And I will give you one. Megyn Kelly. He did not treat well. He did not speak well with Megyn Kelly. But I want one that is actually besides
during the presidency. I would have to look it up and I could email it back to you. I don't have during presidency. I do know that during presidency he called Hispanics that were coming over the border rapists and murderers.
Nope,
he's straight up
factually incorrect. Factually incorrect. Okay. I'm going to let, since it's the ladies' show, before Barb goes, I want to allow Chelly to directly answer that. We will go back to you, Kristen. But anytime the facts are wrong, I do want them fact-checked. So, Chelly, go ahead.
Okay, Kristen, just so that you know, I think you were breaking up earlier, and I kind of touched base on this, which is one of the reasons I'm actually voting for Trump. And so, 5 months ago, I would have felt the same way you and Lindsay felt about Trump, because I would listen to bit clips or I would listen to what people said instead of actually researching for myself, what he actually said and paying attention to the context in which he said it. I am Mexican. They played on my strings, and I thought he called my people rapists and drug dealers. He was specifically talking about MS-13. He was talking about child traffickers and all the other deplorables that come through borders. They're not just Mexican. They're from all over, but they come through the Mexican border because it is the easiest to come through.
So that was just.
There's also
can I say
tons of people coming across the border.
There's a lot of fly-in too. A lot of fly-in. That's one thing we're not addressing a lot. A lot of actually really prominent have money and they fly into America
Correct.
We definitely need to also look at our borders, because there's a lot of things we're not doing on that end that we definitely need to look at.
That's correct. All right, Chris, I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds, then we're going to go to Barb.
Okay. On that, I agree that there does need to be a better border security. However, there are lots of people coming into this country who are seeking refuge because their villages are being attacked by gangs in other countries. There are people, I'm a mother. I promise you, I would do whatever it took to make sure my kids are safe. I would do anything. And I can empathize with that. And that's another thing that goes into the whole thing. I don't think that Trump has empathy. I see more empathy in Biden. And that was one of the main reasons why I went in that general direction. He's just not empathic. He's not down to earth. He doesn't understand or see what the plights are like for people in everyday life. He doesn't know what it's like to be a transgender person whose life is being torn apart, they're being threatened in their jobs just because people are mean. He's isolated from that. Both of them are, to be honest with you, but Biden sees it a little bit more. And I think Kamala Harris sees it even more than that. And Biden, to me, is just a step closer towards a more liberal point of view that I would like to see come true. Because our main point is we need freedom for everybody, and we need equality for every human being that is alive, that is in our country. I don't really care how you got here. Let's figure out what we all need. What does the guy down the street need? Chelly, what do you need? Barb, what do you need? Anthony, what do you need in your lives? What are your children's needs? That kind of stuff. I feel like there's so much freaking divide and anger, and I'm one of them. I'm very angry. That if we could just figure out a way to meet in the middle somehow and talk about those things and move it along so that everybody gets what they need instead of necessarily what they want, I guess. I don't know how to say that properly. I'm sorry.
No, the last part that you said, I couldn't agree more. I
agree 100%.
Yeah. Barb, go ahead and feel free to respond to some of the points that Kristen made.
I just rebut Kristen, or we're bouncing everywhere. What do you
go ahead and rebut a little bit, and then go ahead and say your own reasons of why you don't think it's okay.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with a lot of what she said. Kristen is coming right out and saying that, or I'm paraphrasing Kristen, but my feeling is that she's like acknowledging that she's emotionally fueled, right? A lot of this is anger and emotion. And so she seems to make her decisions based off of emotion. And there's really not much you can do, especially in a 45-second window, to really like dig into that. Like her emotions are powerful. And that's why I think that Biden is being given a pass by so many people, because the media is predominantly liberal and liberal based. And when you look at the reports, even of Trump's 100 first days in office, I think it was like 93% of the stories were negative stories on him in those first 100 days. And so when you're constantly bombarded with emotionally manipulative news skewed one way or another, you don't even realize how that trickles in and becomes part of your core. And when the media is feeding anger, it's feeding emotional. There's a lot of people who run off of emotions like that. And when the media is fueling that and fueling that and fueling that, emotions are very easy to manipulate and then steer in one direction or another. And that's what the media has been doing to Biden. And that's why the country in general is giving Biden a pass. And there are people that say, I don't care what Trump does. I don't care. I don't care what he does. I don't care if he does anything good. I just hate him because he says bad things, because he's demeaning to women, because he shouldn't speak for me. It's all personal and emotional. And that's what I'm hearing more and more and more and more of. And the media is part and parcel responsible for that. Really, they're the ones driving the emotional train, and that's why the country in general is giving Biden a pass and just refuses to acknowledge that Trump could do anything that overshadows the fact that he said some bad words, or is just less than perfect. But I'm a military widow. We have dark senses of humor. It's just who I am. So I'm not everybody's cup of tea, right? I'm an acquired taste. I don't get offended by the stuff that he says. And so I think if you're someone that's easily offended or more likely, more prone to be offended, more like genteel or conservative in your language and in how you act, then you are going to be offended at Trump, and your emotions are going to just be tweaked. And every time you hear him speak, it's going to sound like a knife, like stabbing, right into your skull, which is how I feel, when Hillary or Kamala speak, so I get it, but it's just who we are, and I don't think you can deprogram that, really, especially not like in a soundbite.
What do you think about what Trump had to say about Biden's son?
About what? The drug use?
About Biden's son? Yeah, and the way that he phrased it in ways that was more, he was putting him down. He wasn't, he was using it as a way to, I don't know, sound like he's better than, is the impression that I got. What do you think about it? I mean, do his words affect you at all? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, I'm not, cold. I don't think anyone should be bullied, but I don't know the specific quote you're talking about. I like remember it to some degree. And I remember thinking like, I understood why people were going to take that or what he said, but I don't remember it specifically. What I can speak to is when Trump was quoted as saying the military are suckers and losers. And right away, everybody was like, oh my God, he called our military suckers and losers. And then people looking at me, your husband died in Iraq. How could you, not hate Trump for saying he's a sucker? Why you're still going to vote for him after he calls your husband a sucker and loser? And I'm like, you people are being played. Like he didn't say I don't believe he said that, but people just didn't dig beneath. And so the media is masterfully manipulating emotions and using headlines when they know that most people are not going to go beyond the soundbite, beyond the headline, to really dig in and explore and come to their own conclusion on what he said. And that's just what it is. You can study human behavior. You can study how to sell things. The Art of War, if you read that book, you see all of these tactics being deployed perfectly in politics today. And so, it's definitely a well thought out attack that is intent on bringing Trump down. And the media is 100% behind that. And we don't have a really unbiased news. We got to interview Don Bramer, who's a prominent spokesperson. He's out there everywhere on all the media outlets. He's very much into the White House and politics. He's worked in several administrations, and he's really, really knowledgeable on the news. And working with David Webb also up there. They both say they're in the media all the time, and I came right out and said, how do you know, like, how do you understand, how are you supposed to consume the news? How is a person supposed to consume the news and get the truth? And they all say, they both say, don't believe everything you hear on TV. When the cameras are off, it's a different story. The cameras are on, everybody's at each other, cameras are off, you're going to get a beer together. He said it's very crafted, scripted thing, but we don't get to see that. Americans are making their minds up based on what the media is feeding them, and the media is feeding them a bunch of crap. And that's what we're consuming.
Before we move over to Lindsay, Kristen, I do have a question.
Yes.
What are you referring to in terms of what Trump said about Biden's son? Because there's a couple things.
I believe he said something to the effect of Biden can't even take care of his own son. So he would fail our country. I'm not exactly.
He called Bo a drug addict, a cocaine drug addict, during the debate. And
he is, though, right? Like that's that. He's not making that up.
Did you not applaud the fact that like somebody got over and they accomplished a drug addiction? Because I would take personal offense.
Is he over it?
Like that.
Who got over it?
His son. And he brought it up like he was addicted to cocaine, and he was also a veteran, and he started this veteran addiction while he was a veteran. And
we're talking about Bo. We're talking about Bo, not Hunter, correct?
That's literally exactly what Joe Biden said. He was like, "Which son are you referring to?"
Well, I mean, in all due respect, and it's an unfortunate circumstance. And again, I know we work a lot and some of you guys work in suicide prevention, et cetera. But I do not think anybody should ever comment on anybody's family member that has ever committed suicide. And I'm not a big fan of that statement, but he did not get over drug addiction. What?
It wasn't suicide. It was cancer.
Oh, did Bo die
Yes,
from
he
cancer?
died of cancer. Yes.
My fault. All right. Okay, got
But
it.
no,
Well,
like, I don't take a side on that. I don't think it should have been brought up in a debate by any means.
yeah, I agree. All right, I'm gonna agree with you.
Can I make my closing statement and then?
Yeah, let's go. Let's before I kind of cut off Chelly before Chelly she can finish that and then we'll wrap up. So
Sorry.
Chelly, why does Biden get a pass on his previous missteps?
I think Biden gets a pass on his previous missteps because I think one, people focus more on feelings than they do on facts, right? The fact that Trump is very like arrogant or whatever else people call him, he's very blunt, straightforward. He just says what he says. He doesn't have anything practiced or planned before him. He says what's off the top of his head, and right away people will say, "Oh, because he doesn't speak educated. Oh, he's not articulating his words." So right away, that just people focus on their feelings. I don't like him because he does not speak properly. He does not dress a certain way. He doesn't dance to anybody's tune but his own. And then the media eats that shit up because they are liberal based, just like Barb said. So of course they're gonna draw the narrative to go in their direction. I mean, that's just a fact. He's gonna get a pass on everything. He's gotten passes on. Look at all the things he's getting passes on as far as talking about why are they not asking him the hard questions? What is he going to pack the port or not? What's his comment? Did they drill him on that? Did they talk to him about that? No, they let it go. He said, "Oh, well, I'll decide that after the election." That was his comment. So
we do know that he likes to mix vanilla and chocolate milkshakes, though. We learned that yesterday. So if anybody's wondering the hard-hitting questions,
I do.
That's it. But that's exactly my point. So why is the media giving him a pass? Because they are liberal based. They are liberal based.
Yep. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. Before we go back to you, Kristen, Curtis has got to get out of here. He's going to say his goodbyes. We're going to have the ladies wrap up, and then Cash actually has been listening. He just went and grabbed a very stiff cocktail like anybody probably would who had to bite their tongue. And then him and I are going to wrap it up once the ladies say their goodbye. But Curtis, thank you for you. If anybody's wondering, Curtis was keeping track of time. He was keeping track of people's answers. He was doing a lot to help me do whatever I could do to keep this organized. Lindsay, we'll get back to you. You'll have a long one that you can have the whole end. Curtis, go ahead.
No, I'm going to give a Rachel answer. You're good.
Okay.
Curtis, nice to see you. Bye.
Oh, Curtis, go ahead.
Oh, cool. No, I just want to say awesome job, ladies. I didn't have to fact check that much, which is great because a lot of times people do get emotional on both sides and say a lot of things. I will say to everybody, we got an election in a couple of weeks. After the election, it's going to be on you how you decide to act with your fellow neighbor. And then one more time, I just really reiterate this. The presidents really don't have that much power to do that much things that a lot of the things we're fighting for, packing the court, abortion, they don't have the power to do that. The Congress does. So as much as we talk about the president, as much as you rag about Trump and Trump's bad, this and that, or rag about Biden, he's doing this and doing that, he sucks. Really look at your local leaders that you're going to vote for, because that's really what has the biggest impact on your life, and then also your congressmen and congresswomen. I don't want to, we do it women inclusive, Congress people, because that is really the most important. Because as you know, with Joe Biden and a lot of others, Mitch McConnell, they can stay in there as long as they like. So make sure you vote the person you want to vote in there for the best for your community, not just for yourself. Think about everybody in your community. And if you're a patriot, you're doing this for everybody here. So let's make sure we're doing it, because people have died, and I am in debt and thankful to those people who have given their life for us to have this platform, but they have given it for everybody to have their platform and not just one side. So let's not just live a one side area. What in the world? I'm about to go get tacos right now. Melanie, you read my mind, girl. But yeah, love y'all.
She didn't get mean in the comments.
Trump and Biden, that's our options, but we are all here together. So love you all. I hope you all can be friends after this or before this or whatever. And I'm out. Thanks, Cash. Thank you, Anthony. Cash, we definitely got to get a call this week. So
yeah, we're going to
stop streaming. Whenever you stop streaming, come get somebody to braid my hair like that. And then we'll jump on the phone for real. And then Anthony, I'll talk to you later, brother. Love you, ladies. Thank y'all so much for coming on. And Thank you all for what you do in the community and what you're doing out online, especially Chelly, Kristen, Lindsay, and Barb. Thank y'all so much. And shout out to Rachel. This was awesome.
Later,
Thank
Curtis.
you.
God, did you hear he said ladies like that? He's such a chauvinist pig.
Shut up, Anthony. I'm back. Hold on. You can't come at me like that, Anthony. With that weird looking facial hair. Shave that stuff. Love it.
Oh, man. Love it. All right.
Dog named Woody, it's fine.
All right, Lindsay, let's have you finish up your comments. I love Barb. You're the most patient human being, by the way, and your stature is always like, I don't know what you're thinking down there, but I don't know.
I would like to talk to you after the show.
I want to start. I want to say, I swear it's going to be 30 seconds. That's a lie. It's going to be like 1 minute. But
go for
Barb,
it.
What you have gone through and losing your husband, my heart goes out to you. Like that's some shit, and I respect every single word that you have said. Like that is, I haven't been through that, and I can't imagine what you did. And I want to know how to get Cash's background, so it looks like he is on the street every day.
You got to grow up on the streets. Oh, you need the background to his photo.
Download that background.
He's got a green screen.
You got a green screen.
I'll work on it. I don't think that either candidate should get a free pass on anything. Like, I know that it is slanted in the media. I know that's how it is. I am doing my best to do my research and find actual quotes and then videos or audio tapes of those quotes. I don't think anybody should get a free pass. I don't believe in defunding the police. I have a friend that's a police officer. I believe in high gun control, very much so. I have a friend that's a police officer, and during the whole Black Lives Matter, I would go to the protest and I would talk to her, and she's telling me that she was getting threats at her home because she had a take-home car, and that broke my heart. I know. She was like, do you really think all police officers are racist? I was like, no, I don't. Do I think some are? Yes, I do. I think that does happen. I don't think, I know you. I've known you. I don't think that you're a bad person. I'm pretty sure I got pulled over later that night and they were very polite to me. I think there's a huge difference between Biden being accused of sniffing little girls and Donald Trump having assault and rape cases that you also can't indict a sitting president, where, he's inappropriate a little bit over here, but then Donald Trump he literally, it says he pushed his dick at his ex-wife. I'm sorry, children. I have an issue with that. That is a difference.
If it was,
I don't think either one should get a pass. I don't. I work with a lot of people that are minorities, and before I knew I was going on this, or when I knew I was going on this, I asked them questions about who they were voting for. The majority of them said that they're we're not, it doesn't even matter. It's hopeless. They felt hopeless. That's what they told me. It doesn't matter. They grew up Republican. They don't want to vote for Trump. They feel like nothing they do is going to change anything. 6 different people. And that broke my heart too. That is why I was I'm going to come back. I'm going to do this research. I'm going to get on this show, and I'm going to put my heart out there. And, last time I got emotional at the end, but it's important to me. And I want people to know that it should be important, and their tiny, tiny vote should be important. That's why. Because it's not easy being a Democrat and coming on a conservative show. That's all. That's
true.
All.
Very true. Well, thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate it. And honestly, I know the one thing that I think there's just such an interesting point in the fact that we all really want the same thing. We just believe that one person is doing it, one person isn't. And there's a core concept behind that when there's facts and feelings involved that it does bring into question. And I appreciated you reaching back out to me to have this discussion and come back on. And we even talked a little bit about the allegations with Hunter Biden. And you were at first terrified at like, is this a real thing? Which we still don't fully know exactly what's going on. And we'll talk more about that when more evidence, more blatant evidence comes out, because there's evidence. But I do think that what you said.
Caroline Giuliani's article, right?
What's that?
Caroline Giuliani. Like I even reached out to. They've been estranged. It doesn't count because they've been estranged for 13 years. That wasn't a new thing. I was just trying to get her on your show. That was my point.
Oh, I thought you meant Giuliani's daughter. Sorry.
Yes, I reached out to Newsweek and they put me in contact with her let's get her on here.
All right. Well, thank you, Lindsay. Appreciate it. I'm going to move you to the back, and we're going to go to the most patient woman in the world, Barb.
Okay, well, have a good night.
Thank you very much, Lindsay, for what you said.
All right, Barb. I know that I said an hour and a half to 2 hours, and here we are at, the usual. So, Barb, have at it. Give us your final points.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for hosting this conversation. I know it is not easy to have. And a lot of people even were hoping that there would be a cat fight. So I'm sorry if we disappointed you, that we were all fairly civil on the show, but it is an important conversation, one that I am glad we have. I will say that for me, obviously, worst case scenario is Biden winning. I honestly believe that he is going to take this, or Kamala, whoever's really going to be president, is going to take this country in a direction I don't even want to imagine seeing. That being said, I'm going to vote. I'm going to advocate for Trump, but I learned a long time ago never to attach my well-being to an outcome that I don't have actual control over. So I am also preparing to take control of my own future and my family's future, regardless of who is sitting in office here in a couple of months. And I would hope all Americans do the same. I think if we all take a little more personal accountability and stop stepping back and blaming everything on whoever is in office. And for me, again, if Biden wins, that's going to be a terrible day in my world, but I'm going to get up, I'm going to get over it. And I'm going to pray that I'm wrong. If Biden is our president, I am going to actually sit back quietly and pray that I'm wrong and hope that I can do whatever I can to prove myself wrong in that and see that our country comes out of this better and stronger. And if Trump wins, I'm not going to talk a lot of smack about to the liberals and talk down to them either. I hope that everybody can kind of call a ceasefire on there and just say, I think if we all look at this, like this country is in some sense a family, some sense of business. We're a dysfunctional family, no doubt. And we're a dysfunctional business in some ways, but we're partners and we're family members of first. We're Americans first. And if we all take accountability for ourselves, our families, and our communities, regardless of who is in office, whether that's your candidate or not, I think there's hope for us. So I don't like hearing that people feel hopeless, that they don't have a say in anything, because we all, of course, do. And we're just very emotionally invested in this election for a lot of different reasons. So, go Trump. I really hope that it is Trump Pence in office for another 4 years and Republican. I hope we see a wave of red in this country. I really, really do. But that being said, I'm going to work with Americans and my community and whatever, no matter who's in an office. And I hope we all do the same. And thank you for having this platform to encourage that.
Thank you very much, Barb.
Appreciate you, Barb.
Appreciate you talking about your background, your loss, and the knowledge that you bring to the table. So thank you again, and your patience, because I know you host these kind of shows, and I know that it's sometimes when you just got one guest, you keep things, or a couple guests, you keep it. This got a little crazy, and you just sat back there like this the whole time, and I felt bad. I'm like, you're like the perfectly behaved kid that doesn't get to, I felt guilty. So thank you.
I have your patience.
I raised 4 boys. Let's just say that.
That's enough said. Enough said, Barb. Thank you.
Medal for that.
Thank you all very much.
Have a good day, Barb. Hey, give her my contact information, Anthony.
I got you. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good one.
Barb. All right, we're gonna go to Kristen, and then we're gonna wrap it up with Chelly and Cash, and we're gonna have at it. So, Kristen, final word.
So, as I'm wrapping up, Barb was talking about the media. So one thing that I wanted to make clear, I don't watch the news. We don't even have television. We just have streaming services. And I may get facts wrong on occasion, but I look at all sources of information as needing to be proven or disproven, right? I am very scientific. I've been working towards a degree in forensic anthropology with the goal of getting a PhD in forensic anthropology one of these damn days. So school is very important to me. When it comes to recognizing whether a statement or a policy or whatever, anything is fact, I look at it the way a college looks at it. You need to have 3 collegially approved and peer-reviewed sources that agree with you. Otherwise, no. If you can't cite your source in a term paper for a college, then that source that it's no good. And it sucks sometimes because I can't tell you how many times I have tried to look something up and I found out, I learned something new about Trump, that he did do something good. It happens all the time. Just so you know where I'm coming from. For today, I have probably 10 pages of notes on women's rights, because that's where I thought we were going to be spending most of our time. So everything I have, I looked up and made sure we're 100% factual when it comes to that. And I urge everyone to do that. It drives me crazy when you see a meme on Facebook and someone just, repost it or whatever without reading the full article. I take a lot of time. I read a lot of articles and a lot of books so that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to certain topics. Other topics I don't look up as much. And that's, something that I've got to work on. I just wanted to get that part out there.
I do want to say, Kristen, I do want to say that part of all the discussions that we had, there was a free range to incorporate the women's rights issues directly into Biden or Trump. They were there. I mean, that was literally the point, was to.
I thought it. You said it. She's gonna email me.
No, I'm not blaming anybody or anything like that. I just, like she was saying, and everybody who's ever met me knows that I'm a very emotionally charged human. I mean, people joke about how they have to speak the language that is Kristen because I'm very loud and I'm very opinionated and I'm very, very strong-willed. But I wish I would have incorporated a little bit more. Then again, I was having a lot of technical issues at the beginning. But all in all, I think it was good. I learned some stuff from you that I will look up more so I can, have more factual information. I have more research to do when it comes to police. And I thank Chelly for that. Because at the end of the day, although I am a liberal, and that's one thing is, why did I choose Biden? Well, I chose Biden because he's the closest. And although Joe Jorgensen is more close to what I would actually say, I don't believe she has a chance of winning. So it's just a step closer to what I want, if that makes more sense. And I think because of that, I don't know what I'm trying to say. But I do thank you, Chelly. I really appreciate all the information that you gave us. And I appreciate what you do. I mean, that's scary as hell. I don't have the balls to do it. I don't. And I do hope that you stay safe in your city. And to Barb, I'm very sorry for your loss. That's a nightmare. I can't believe how strong you are, and that's incredible. And at the end of the day, I do hope that everybody retains their right to vote, whether you vote red or blue or purple or pink. I don't care. Just get out and freaking vote, because I never did before this election. I didn't vote in the last Trump election. I have no freaking money in the game. You know what I'm saying? And I learned a very valuable lesson. And so if anybody takes anything from me, look it up, research it, make sure it's collegially approved sources. That helps to filter out that media garbage, and go vote for who you believe is right. And thank you so much for giving me a chance. I do apologize for my technical stupidity. I suck at technology, man. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Hey, Kristen, can I ask you one question before you go?
Absolutely.
What do you think Biden is going to do if he wins in office? What do you hope that he will do?
I hope that he keeps women's rights, the right to an abortion, not because I'm for it. I would never have one. But I do believe in bodily autonomy 100%. I hope that he pushes us closer to getting more medical health care to more people, whether that's straight up socialist medicine, which is what I would love to see. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I would like to see more people with medical care. If I got cancer tomorrow at noon, I would die. That's just a fact. I'm in the service industry. I'm a sommelier. So I wait tables and sell wine for a living. That's what I do. And I go to school, when I can afford it. So that's one of the reasons why I would like to see that happen. And I would like to see a lot of police reform and education. I think that they should actually get paid more than what they get paid now. I think that it should require a degree, a higher degree than what is required. And I think it's different by state. But I think that the more education we can get of our police officers and social workers to work together, I think that would help solve a lot of our problems. Yeah. I
have one question. What you said something, if you got cancer tomorrow, you would die. I didn't understand that statement.
What I just mean by that is I am uninsured. I do not have insurance, nor can I afford insurance. I'm not blaming Trump or Biden for that. But where I am, because I'm in the service industry. So service industry people who are waitresses, bartenders, servers, most restaurants that do offer insurance, it's wildly expensive and it's bad. It's crappy insurance most of the time until you move up into management and that kind of stuff.
Why couldn't you apply for Obamacare? The Affordable Care Act is still a thing.
Right.
It is, but we cannot afford it. We cannot afford it at all, which is one of the topics that we were talking about when it comes to healthcare, understanding exactly. See, the one thing that makes me upset about Trump is he still hasn't put forth a plan. I would love to see his plan. If he has a plan that's better, bring it, because people like me need it. But he said maybe 3 or 4 times now on the news, where I've seen quotes of him saying, I'll have a plan out in 2 weeks, or during the debates, I already have a plan. But he hasn't put it forth, so I don't know what it is. And there's a large population of us. Anybody who's in the service industry knows it sucks when it comes to healthcare. Most of us don't go to the doctor. I couldn't afford cancer treatments if I had it. That's what I meant by that.
I get it. I understand what you're saying. I appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk to us.
Thanks, Kristen.
Well, I thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity. It was really nice to meet all of you.
Very nice to meet you.
Thanks, Kristen. Take it easy.
Yeah. All
right. Let's see. Cash, do you want to go, or do you want Chelly to go? Chelly, do you want to sit here for Cash's going from the rant? Kristen, I'm going to go ahead and I'm bouncing the back rooms, but you can watch the rest on the Face Bizzle.
You already know you already know I'm here for it. I'm waiting.
All right, Cash, you are good to go.
Okay, so listen, if we learned anything tonight, it is that people that are voting for Biden don't do a lot of research, or only research what fits the narrative for them. A lot of the things that were said were not true. Literally, they weren't true. Especially, see, I'm glad I got off because I was fuming. Like I really wanted to go at it, especially when it got to the point of police reform and abolishing the police. Okay. Because when you look at places like Minneapolis, where it has happened, they abolished the police. So whereas you said these things that happen on occasion, over there, they're not happening at all anymore. But you know what is happening? A higher influx of crime, more murders, extortion, robberies. All of these things, okay, are happening because the police are not there. We see what happens to a city when the police are abolished. We know now. Now we're not guessing. We know. And it's scary to think that can be the condition of all of America if the liberals got their way of taking police out and putting up public safety, because there is no public safety over there. Beyond that, got to the issue of abortion, as if people are arguing that a woman should have the right to do what she wants to do with her body. She does. I'm not arguing that, and I don't think anyone will. I don't think any conservative will argue the fact that a woman should have the right to choose what she wants to do with her body. But me, as an American, God-fearing man, I don't want to be the one to pay for the murder of a life. Okay? I don't agree with it. And that should be my right. And then they started talking about the LGBTQ and all of that stuff. Well, I got issues with that, you know, I get called a cisgender male. I am a cisgender male. If you go and look at how they look at us as men, because I'm a straight heterosexual man or man that likes women. I'm a cisgender male. I don't like that. I'm just a man. That should be what that is. If you're a man, that means that you're straight. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. Now, if you want to, you know, other people outside of that, like if you're a man that likes men, you're a homosexual man. If you're a man that wants to be a woman, you are a transgender man or a woman, however they look at that. Don't change my label of who I am to fit your agenda, because I take offense to it. But because of the way that the world's working now, if you feel right about something, or because things that are normal to us, the way things have always been, if we have a problem with the new status quo of things, it doesn't matter about us. We don't matter no more. How we feel doesn't even getting taken into accountability anymore. No one cares. I got a problem with that. But you can't tell them that. They'll think that you're bashing, or you're being intolerant, or however they, you know, the little things that they say, or having microaggressions, and it's BS. The world is switching around us, and we have to change how we identify or who we are because of the way these people feel. If we stand against Black Lives Matter and we're white, then you're a racist. If you stand against Black Lives Matter and you're black, we're Uncle Toms or coons. If you stand against the LGBTQ movement and, you know, men going into the women's bathroom, then you're a homophobe or you're intolerant. Or if you're not respecting pronouns, then you're being disrespectful. And it's a whole bunch of just BS. If you stand for the police and you back the blue, then you're a racist or whatever it is. There's always things getting thrown out there, but there was a lot of mistruth spoke tonight, and not a lot of clarity, except for from Rachel, which, see, with a person like that, if anybody wants to talk about, you know, what they believe, I'm cool as long as you could back it up with facts. And she did. That's why she's undecided, because she knows the facts. And in her mind, at 21 years old, I'm impressed. In her mind, she says, well, I'm weighing these things, and I know this, and I know this about this person, and I feel this way about this person, and I feel this way about this person, but I'm still undecided because I'm weighing it. That's an intelligent back and forth. I could do that with somebody. But when somebody comes on here and just says, well, I don't like Trump because he has sexual allegations against him, yet Biden's don't matter. I don't like Trump because he said something racist before that really was taken out of context, but what Biden said that was blatantly racist doesn't matter. I don't like Trump because he hasn't introduced a plan, yet Biden hasn't introduced a plan, or the plan that he has introduced or plans that he has introduced have been bad or racist. But you can't tell me anything about the man that he's trying to do or has done that is good. You can only tell me what Biden or what Trump has done that you don't like. And that's where I have a problem. I really dislike talking to a liberal who has their mind made up that they are liberal, and that's that, because it's like you can't get a real conversation going. It's always just, I'm going to listen with the intent to respond. I was trying real hard to understand. I really was. I was sitting there, I was biting my tongue as I'm listening to things that I know are false. I know that just are their opinions and their feelings. It's not based on a fact. And it was driving me insane. It was driving me insane. When I talk to people, I'm presenting facts to them. You can look it up and find it. And then even when they do, they say, well, fact checkers say. Fact checkers is liberal. It's biased. Read sources from different, or read news from different sources. Look at everything, or just nowadays, watch the entire video. If you're confused and fact checkers are saying one thing, but then these people are saying, no, we watched the whole thing and that's not true, then go and watch the entire video for yourself. That way you don't come on here and say that he said that Mexicans are rapists and murderers. That way you don't come on here and say that he's a racist because whatever. It's not hard. And it was driving me insane. And I never want to do this again. I never want to host a debate with you again that I'm not allowed to be in the debate. I will not do it. I refuse to do it. And it was driving me insane. It was driving me insane, bro.
I saw that. Here, wait, real quick, Chelly, what do you got? We'll come back. Hold on.
You know what I found like really, really, like as I sat back and like tried to listen, because I wanted to be respectful to people as well and let everybody get the opportunity to talk, and didn't want it to turn into a catfight. The people that were supporting Biden never actually spoke on his plan. Like he doesn't, you guys know he has a plan, right? It actually, when you look at his plan, it's like 50 freaking pages. So when you look at the plan, it actually looks, there's some things in it that look decent. I'm going to call it like I see it. I'm going to be fair. It actually looks decent, but not one of them spoke on it. Not one of them. Now, whether he's going to do those things, I seriously doubt it, because he's had 47 years to make change and it's not happened. But it literally blows my mind that they had a plan that has a lot of good key points in it and didn't touch on one of those facts. Not one.
No, because there is.
No,
I do. I was going to find it interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Cash.
You know what really blew my mind too is when they were talking about they love guns, but they think that we should have gun control because no American needs to have, automatics or AR-15s, which we all did. They called them on. It blows my mind. Okay, but it's the duty of the people. It is the duty of the people. The reason why we have these amendments, the reason why we have the Constitution, is for our protection from a corrupt government. Okay, people don't understand that. You have gun laws or the Second Amendment because if somebody in our government, let's say, I'm gonna use an example. This is just a hypothetical. Let's say that Ilhan Omar somehow became the president and decided to flip the country and started some civil war type stuff, and they took your automatic guns or semi-automatic guns, and you only had handguns while the military's coming in with Ks and ARs and M16s. How are you going to compete against that? You can't. We have these rules and things set in place for a reason. Our guns should not be a question. People are not out here killing each other with Ks and AR-15s. They're out here killing each other with handguns. So why not put a restriction on the handguns?
Even that, like, why are we even talking about that? Because the people who are out here killing people, they don't have legal guns. Hello?
Exactly.
Hello?
I don't know why that's ever brought up. I want to say something about the police, and I thought it was very interesting that the conversation, and what I found interesting is as there was fact checks that went on, there was a couple that were left over, but the bulk of the arguments or the bulk of the points, once corrected, really didn't hold any validity, and it was actually switched over. So the commentary on defunding the police ended up being adding funding to the police by the end of that conversation. Mm-hmm. And Biden never actually, I mean, we would assume he said defund. He never said that, but he said other dumb policing concepts like shooting in the leg, which there's not I don't think, and this is a blanket statement. You could probably speak better, Chelly. Would any police officer in history that has been trained tell you that we should learn how to shoot in the leg?
No. And I really wish that people would just choose to be quiet and learn why we do things the way we do. So you're shooting, you're taught to shoot center mass because you want to eliminate the delivery system. Where is my delivery system? How can I hurt someone? It's my arms. It's this. That's the part you want to take out. Not only that, but if you aim small like a leg, you're going to miss big. You're going to aim big, you're going to miss small. Let's take Jacob Blake, for instance. He was shot at point blank range, 7 times and only hit 4 times. So imagine trying to shoot him in his leg. That's like saying, oh, here, just shoot him in his pinky toe so he doesn't run. Like, people just should not speak on certain things they know nothing of.
I agree.
Well, with that said, any other final thoughts, Cash or Shelly?
Never doing this again.
Here's the deal. Next time, Cash, we'll drop you down from host, and it'll be a full-on debate that you are allowed to be a debater on.
Thank you.
Well, but I thought it was more, my final thoughts, I thought it turned out to be, even though things were said that I felt were more based on feelings. And I appreciate Lindsay's perspective, and I appreciate everybody's view, right? Because we're all entitled to opinions. But when you base those opinions, and I said it from the beginning, if you guys are watching the comments, I'm like, when they spoke, it's all feelings. It's all feelings. We're not talking about facts.
Yep.
So
I feel as though he's a misogynist. I feel as though the way that he's done stuff, I think that I want to know what I feel as though, and it's a lot of that, and there's just not a lot of.
Even when she even spoke about him, about what she felt about Trump, but then when she kind of took that conversation, I don't even remember how the conversation turned into the police stuff, right? Like, it just went somewhere in a different tangent. But I'm like, you said things that were not true, like that. I just debunked them, and then it turned into exactly what you said, where now she came back. And I do appreciate her realizing that she needed to do some more research on that. So I don't want to sound like I'm coming at her wrong. I appreciate that, because I think we need to have these conversations. We need to let people know certain things so that they can look into that, so they can be informed, because I feel a lot of Biden supporters are making uninformed decisions. They're making their choice based on facts. And myself, I can bring myself to it. I was the same way. I was all feelings. I was not facts. Until 5 months ago, and I started digging up facts because stuff wasn't making sense, I was just as guilty. I think Lindsay kind of talked really quick about her Hispanics and minorities and all that stuff. I'm like, I'm Hispanic, I'm minority, and I understand where you're coming from or where they're coming from, but guess what? It's because they are not woke. That is the fact. They are not researching for themselves. They are not digging deep. They are not looking. They're watching CNN and MSNBC, and they're listening to their grandparents who are my grandmother herself. I was born a Democrat. I'm going to die a Democrat. My aunt reminded me of that exact quote a few weeks ago. That is the problem. That is the exact problem.
You know,
I think it's interesting. I mean, she did bring up she doesn't watch mainstream media, but streaming, you're going to be getting stuff fed. It doesn't matter where you get it from. It's still a direct, people are I say, even when Cash was talking in the past, he's like, I'm not watching any of the mainstream media stuff. Technically, the trickle-down news is still from that core basis. There's no way to get away from it.
You can't.
Getting your resources that's where your resources come from. That's exactly where your resources come from. You have to dig. For me, I'm not going to lie. It was freaking hard. It was super hard to dig in. But once I started realizing people who did not have political agendas, it was just easier to kind of start filtering out all the bullshit.
Yeah. Marianne, I will do that.
That's a good idea.
We'll plan for 37 hours next time. Okay. We got that covered. I agree. We could do that. I wanted the core concepts hit. I think.
Hey, wait, did you guys notice my cup?
I did.
Yes, the whole time. It was great.
No. Hey.
I
just want to say I appreciate all of y'all, because man, I got pissed off there for a second. That dude, did you see all the stuff he was saying?
I was busy. I was busy trying to help her with her technology. No, I didn't see it. I cannot
stand a keyboard gangster, bro. An internet thug. I cannot stand that. And I tried. I sat there and let him keep sliding through, but he kept saying some off the wall shit, basically just towards me. A couple of them, liberal women, and that guy, and then the other one, Brit.
That's him.
Whatever. He looks like a
kindness.
One of them,
kindness.
One of those people that have want you to use pronouns. One of them.
A white. Got it.
On Facebook or YouTube?
He was on Facebook, but yeah, they were all just saying these things, And I'm looking, I'm like, dude, what the fuck is the issue? I'm sitting here biting my tongue. I'm trying my best not to go off. And y'all just keeping on egging. And I'm like, look, you know what? They think that because I'm moving into another, part of what I'm doing with the politics and everything, that I won't be me. I'm always going to be me. That's the reason why I'm effective, is because I stay being me. I'm not going to bite my tongue, and I'm not going to apologize for calling you out. Plain and simple. I'm not apologetic towards anything that I do, calling someone out that's attacking me. Now, if I do something wrong to somebody without them doing anything to deserve it, I will apologize. I will apologize if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll admit that. But when you call me out, don't think that you're going to get, I don't give a damn about a soundbite. I couldn't care less about a soundbite. If I ever do get some kind of office and they play that soundbite, I'm like, oh yeah, it's because that dude was being an asshole.
I was like, they're going to say, oh, look, Cash just pulled the Trump.
And I'm like, yes, thank you for that honor.
I always make the joke, Trump, they were talking about Hillary breaking the glass ceiling for women. Technically, for me being outspoken and being an asshole, Trump broke my glass ceiling, let's be honest. And I have dated a few too many women in my day. So, yeah.
Ooh, coming out.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up. First off, Chelly, amazing. I know you've been on a bunch of shows.
Hey, I got to go. Family emergency. Talk to y'all later. Love you guys.
Bye, Cash. Love you later, brother. Yeah, you were fantastic, Barb, and I got to hook her up with Cash. She was great. For everybody, before you guys get off here, we've got the logos for Concert Vendors. We finally finished them. How bad after those, Chelly?
Those are dope.
Cool. And we got Bobby Sauce. He's in. We also have Angry Viking. I got to re-talk to him. Make sure we got Cash. We got the whole crew. And as a reminder, we have got the shirts that Cash wanted to have up. You can see those in the top left, new items, #BetheChange.com/shop-1. You could just click on, just go to #BetheChange and go up to shop. You'll see that we've got the Trump limited edition. We're only selling those through Friday. If you want to try to get them by the election, we're only selling 100 of them. So hurry up. And then a lot of you guys wanted sweatshirts. So we've got a hoodie, Unite, Don't Fight. We've got the Be the Change square, which actually looks really good if you've seen Cash wearing it. You've got that, as well as the what I'm wearing right now is now also on the website as well. You can see that guy. So you can do this with the t-shirt thing. Pretty cool to work out in, hang out in, etc. Trucker hat on the bottom too. That one's going to be badass. We just got that in. That's about all we got. Tomorrow, Changemakers Part 2 with Sharice Fonts. She's founder of Culture Circle, and she has a whole project called Humanity. She is amazing. You guys, if you watch that first one, I know we had about 150 people watching when she was on. She is phenomenal, and we're going to get more into her life. I'm going to walk the dog before he kills me. And yeah, there's more to come. I've already asked Rachel if she'll do a short show weekly. We'll see. And yeah, she's down. She wants in. So she just confirmed that she would do that. I think she'd be brilliant on like a 5-minute teleprompter type script. So Woody, do you want to say goodbye to everybody? No, you just want me to take you out. Cool, cool. Chelly, love you to death. Phenomenal job as usual. I appreciate you. Fucking squeaky thing. Excellent. And again, make sure you guys follow the podcast. Do us a favor. Follow us on YouTube as well. I'll throw those up while we're heading out of here. Again, guys, subscribe, like, share this video. I think some people actually get something out of it and enjoy it. Thank you guys again. There he is. Knew he'd come in hot. Bye, everybody. Have a great day. Where's the goodbye? There it is. For those of you still here, I mean, look at this guy. Seriously, how cute is that face? How cute is that face? You guys get the bonus post credits. Mwah. He's adorable. He's adorable, right? Do you want to see everybody that's on right now? We'll see how he hugs me before we go out. You want to do a hug? Can I have a hug? Can I have your hug? Can I have our hug? Okay. Yeah. Little bear hug. Yeah, he's nuts. Okay, that's it. Bye, guys.